What's up, guys? This is Chris, and I'm here again with my cousin Nano, and again with my brother Diego. This time we have a special guest. His name is Alex. Say what's up, Alex.
What's up?
Alright, yeah, in this episode, we're going to be talking about aliens. Alright, episode 4. Like how we said in episode 3, towards the end, that we were going to start jumping into different topics. So this new topic is aliens, and we're going to be talking about alien conspiracies. So basically, we're going to be talking about our beliefs in it. If we believe they're real, if they exist, or if they don't exist, who knows? We don't know what each other think about aliens. So we're going to go ahead and express that. So is there anything you guys need to say, want to say? Anything about the third episode? Something you want to touch upon that before we should get into this one?
Look at that intro, though.
Yeah.
It's definitely a work in progress.
Yeah, we're still working.
Kind of excited to see how it's going to evolve. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe we'll be on national television.
Yeah, I know we said we were going to have a couple other people on this podcast on this episode, but I mean, it was just hard to get a hold of some people, and so I mean, it happens, but there's always room for next episode, future episodes for them to come back in. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go start this podcast about alien conspiracies. So do any of you guys want to start this off, or do you guys who wants to break the ice?
I mean, where do you want to start? There's a whole bunch of things. Yeah, man. Where do we start, dude? Because what are we talking about? We're talking about like aliens. Do aliens exist? Are we talking about
all that?
Aliens exist? Or
you know what? Let's do this. Let's do this. All right, Diego. Do you believe or do you believe aliens exist? Just yes or no?
I do.
Yes. All right.
Yes.
How about you, Nano? Do aliens exist?
Yo me llamo E.T., so I'm an alien.
How about you, Alex?
I believe.
You believe? All right. So that makes 4 of us. 4 out of 4. We all believe that aliens do exist. Yeah, and we really wanted to do this episode because this is the biggest conspiracy I believe that the world has ever talked about and wants to know if they exist or not. And so it's a good subject, it's a good topic. So yeah, what makes you believe that they exist, Diego?
Hey, so that it's just something that I've always had an idea about. Hey, growing up, being in middle school, being in high school, I used to draw aliens. I used to look them up. I used to do these like little sketches, and these were just things that I've come across, and I don't know what they look like. I don't know what they talk like, but just the idea of an alien gives me gives me ideas as to what they can and cannot, or dude, I don't even know. This is so crazy to talk about because let's talk about a story. That last time, there was a report this year that was released by was it the federal government, and it's basically saying, what was it?
No, is it all those videos that were released about UFOs being captured? On tape? Oh, yeah.
So it was about. So I'm not sure if they were captured, but it was talking about pilots.
Yeah.
Pilots coming across these unidentified
flying objects.
And basically it was saying yes, hey, there's something out there. We don't know exactly what it is, but it's out there.
Yeah.
But aliens can come in all forms. To be in my opinion, and whether it's an ugly monster form like we're used to, like I don't know, like Predator, or like some of these other ugly monster looking things, but I really feel they can come in human forms too.
Yeah. Oh, you know what's cool about? All right. Yeah. Let me break this down. So there's basically 3 types of forms of aliens. There's a lot of people don't know about this. It's the reptilian humanoids. Basically, it's a reptile-looking type of alien, but with human features. So like legs, arms, a head, but the head is like a reptile basically. back like different different like myths from like Asia, from Egyptian myths. They all have different basically like illustrations of how these type of aliens look. And then there's another type of aliens are the grays. Gray aliens are basically the ones that we come across are basically what people talk about all the time. Big headed, slanted eyes, little mouth, just short but big headed, four fingers, And then there's also the Nordics. Then there's say again?
You describing the Roswell aliens.
Yeah, the Roswell aliens. Yeah, there you go. And then also there's another type of alien, which are the Nordics. The Nordic aliens are basically like, those are the type of aliens that are very spiritual. They're very intelligent compared to all the other ones. And I feel like I felt like this should be the time to put this in the podcast in the beginning. Just because just so we can break down the three different types of aliens that there is. Some people just hear about the gray aliens. Those are the ones basically we all came across and know about. So like I said, slanted eyes, big headed, little mouth, short, 3 foot tall, gray aliens. But yeah, it's cool. Well, how you were saying with the gray aliens, like how you said you were drawing back in the days too. It's cool that, I mean, if we all have that same visual, and like it just breaks the fact that there has to be something that looks like that certain specific illustration that's been drawn for decades. It's been drawn on Egyptian walls, carved into the walls, and they basically like I mean, everyone's seen it, like they've seen it and it kept passing on and on and on. But like
generations.
Generations, yeah. But yeah.
I used to watch this show called Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
And it was on, I think it was on the History Channel or something like that, and they used to talk about all these pyramids that they don't know how they got there.
Yeah.
And because they're all these pyramids are like in so many places around the world, and they all look the same. They have the same foundation. They have the same. They were built the same.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like Chris mentioned that there are like what do they call it? Like hydroglyphics or
yeah. Oh, the ones that are basically branded on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was it? Hydro.
Hieroglyphics.
Hieroglyphics.
Yeah. And they all have the same look, the same, and they all look like gray aliens.
Yeah.
And so, but basically, they touch base on how these pyramids got there and how these diagrams or how these pictures were made. Basically saying that there are, and the crazy part is that it's around the world. So, and for all these people to have the same idea on what they can possibly look like, there has to be some truth to it.
Yeah.
And with this report coming out from the government saying that, hey, there's something out there, we don't know what it is, but they wanted to look into it. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
To know that this may actually be real.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen one.
Yeah.
Personally, I've never seen someone come up to me and be like, "Hey, I'm an alien."
Hey, let me ask you this. Let me ask you guys this though. Would you guys really want to find out if they're real? Like me, like to answer that, I like as right now, present times, I do feel like I would want to know that if they do exist. But what would you think they would do if all of a sudden they bring an alien species in front of us and we all find out that they're real, they exist? What would you think it would do to humanity? Like, you guys try to say again?
I think a lot of people would say, well, it's about time they finally admit it.
Yeah, but Like, it would be
How would
scary.
you react? How would you react? I don't know.
Hey, I'd be kind of scared.
I wouldn't be. I honestly, I have to admit, I wouldn't be scared of the alien. I would be scared of humanity's reaction to that.
Yes.
Like, I mean, just considering the way we treat each other, like as humans, I would be so scared to see how we would treat a foreign species that's not really an alien, right?
Mhm.
I think that's what I would like. My concern is that, like, how would we react? And I think that's kind of one of the things that I want to talk about eventually is like how much information we do have that's been hidden from us.
Oh, damn, that's countless.
What was that?
That's countless.
Yeah, exactly. So it's on the, like, that just validates like why I'm. That's what my concern is. It's not the fact that aliens are. I mean, I honestly I agree with Diego. Like, they take up forms, different types of forms that we can't confirm or deny whether this is or it's not.
Yeah.
But it's the lack of information that's not willing to be published, that's not willing to be given out to us as like human species. Because, and I don't know why, but I just think that that's what my concern would be. Is like, I don't know if they're gonna like inject them with things or try to like do all kinds of tests. Like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking ET again. I mean, it's part of scary. Like, at part of the movie that really like they started getting. They're trying to figure out, because they're trying to figure out what it is based on their own knowledge. I think that we have to listen to what they are and kind of be open to what that's gonna be.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and then the thing is too, if that did ever happen, like the government, they're nothing. They ain't gonna be nothing to this. If that did come out, I mean, like how you said, it's scared how humanity will react. I know. Who knows? It will, as soon as go, you go.
But the government, okay, man, this may lead to like the government conspiracy, because if government has this, like, if government has film, or if they have reports or incidences that have happened, and they just, just like this year, like, they decided to just release things.
Yeah.
Dude, what else is there? Like,
Yeah.
If does the government have a relationship with these aliens?
I believe so.
To the point that the aliens are being stopped by our government from invading. Like, dude, there's
So,
so many questions.
Hey, let me.
Alex, what do you think, man?
I think they've always been a part of our culture.
Oh yeah,
They've
heck
never
yeah.
left us. They've never been alone. Like the ancient Sumerians, they have the hieroglyphics, like Diego said, on their cigarettes, on their buildings. It's always a man with the head of an eagle and wings, or a lion or a crocodile, but they have wings.
Yeah.
The wings that being can fly.
Yeah.
So, where do they come from?
Yeah, see, so another thing too, like how you're talking about that is, I'm not religious or anything, but I know there's this verse in Genesis 6, where it's talking about how the devils the fallen angels came down to the earth of man and had women, or had kids with the women on earth, so the mortals, and basically. So what I'm trying to touch upon is the ancient astronauts. Ancient astronauts came from outer space. Yeah, they came from outer space, and these Egyptians, like all these religions, they basically they worship them. They're in their books. They have them carved down. They have them carved on walls. They have them written in books. Dude, there's just so much things. Like there's a picture where what's that picture called? It's a biblical one. It's basically the Virgin Mary, and it's called the Madonna, something the Madonna. But basically what it is the Mary. It's Mary sitting down taking a picture, and behind there's a guy and his dog looking up at the sky, pointing at the sky, and when he's pointing at the sky, there's this disc shaped object, and like it's been around for so long, dude. Like there's so much hidden facts and so much hidden just facts from us, and but That's why the people like cracking down on all this information is. That's why like how you're talking about how the military released the those them catching UFO unidentified flying objects on video. I feel like that during that time it was a cover up for something else, for what was going on Earth at the time during those days, those crises. So I believe that's when COVID started coming out. Um, Riots and stuff started happening. There was something else that was going on with the president, and all of a sudden he released that they released that those video clips. It's cover ups, man. They just want to misdirect us to different things, you know. So, but I know that the ancient astronauts, dude, they've been around for so long, and there's this guy too. His name is Eric Van Daniken. Eric von Daniken. He I believe that's his name. But he's an author of the books Chariots of the Gods. I don't know if any of you guys have read it. So basically, this guy, dude, he did everything he could to release this information, everything about extraterrestrials, UFO, alien, anything, and the FBI basically, long story short, was cracking down on this guy. This guy spent so much money. He was borrowing loans, everything, just to release this information in this book, and so the government was cracking down on this guy, and basically towards after he sold so many copies, this guy was like a millionaire, and all of a sudden, as soon as all his book and all the information was leaked out, this guy he's charged with fraud, with all kinds of different like criminal charges, like just basically having to do with money. But that was just the way to get this guy to stop releasing or leaking out information that the government was keeping hidden. But it's crazy because they do that so much. There's a lot of like people that are they're giving off so much information, like people that used to work with Area 51, they start cracking down on them, locking them up, or all of a sudden they disappear. They don't know what happened to the guy, but it's just a way for them to keep all that quiet. So, yeah, I don't know.
And even the president started talking about building a space force. You all hear about that, right? Last year?
Yeah.
Or when
Space what?
A space force?
Space force.
Okay.
It's basically a military
for outer space.
for space. Basically, we're going to conquer space. And people were asking, what is there to conquer in space if aliens don't exist?
Yeah. Yeah, quote.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, but there definitely is, things are being hidden, and Chris, do you think it's leverage to be able to release this information when they're trying to cover stuff up? I don't know.
I mean, well, the thing is, like how I was saying, they leaked that information because it's something that we've been wanting to know about, and if we see that the military actually got a hold of UFOs on tape, and they release that to us, then that's gonna change our whole perspective on what's even going on in the world at that time. So yeah, I believe it is for leverage. It's for them to keep power, to know that they still have the power over us, and
just power.
Yeah, like I don't know. What happened?
Wait, can you get? We got a bad connection.
No, you're good. What'd you say?
Yeah,
You said power?
What is power?
Knowledge is power.
No, knowledge is power.
Oh, knowledge is power. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Just knowing that, and it's crazy, dude, because they know they can get us with that. And tell me the truth. When that video was leaked, how long from that video until you stop searching UFO stuff? I'm pretty sure you guys were searching stuff up, like alien stuff, after that. It's just a way to keep us glued to certain subjects, like keep us away from what's really going on. But I don't know. It's crazy, man. But that's what I'm
My
saying.
question is always why.
Why?
Why? Why are they hiding this? It's already happening. Why? If people have been talking about this for hundreds and even thousands of years, why are they still hiding it? But maybe it is because knowledge is power, and if the government feels that that they can withhold this information, which obviously they've been, it's they're gonna keep doing it.
You know.
But,
You know what I feel like it's the reason why they keep it hidden is I don't know, I forget what number of president he was, but I was reading this this article basically talking about Dwight Eisenhower, and basically he goes out on vacation to Palm Springs, or no, Palm Springs, I believe it was Palm Springs.
David.
Oh, where is it?
I think it was Camp David.
Or somewhere here in It was in California, and basically he's going out for a golf trip and on vacation, doing his thing. All of a sudden, he gets a toothache, and it was on the weekend. He gets a toothache. Supposedly, he has an urgent appointment with the dentist, but a lot of people say that he didn't go to the dentist. He went to a nearby Air Force station in California, and he had secret meetings with these aliens, dude. And basically during that meeting, he signs a treaty. It's called Gerarda or something like that. Gerada. It's a treaty he signed with the aliens, basically saying they came to an agreement on something the world doesn't know. But what I believe that they came in agreement is that these gray aliens can come to our world, to Earth, and abduct human beings and experiment on them on whatever they're trying to experiment on or trying to gain from our species. But at the same time, the government can do the same thing, and that's when Area 51 comes in place, where they start experimenting on gray aliens and this and that. But as soon as they're done experimenting on each being, each species, each human being, they bring them back, make sure nothing happens to them as long as they're back. And that's why you start hearing about like these abduction stories that people have been abducted, and all they remember is this light hitting their face, and then all of a sudden they're back on Earth, and like there's a part of their life that's completely wiped out that they don't remember. But I believe that there's an agreement between the government and aliens where they can both experiment on one another and find, I don't know, but it may seem crazy, but that's what I believe.
The version I heard of that is that he had two meetings. There was two different species of aliens met with him. There was a benevolent kind, and there was a malevolent species that met with him. One of them offered him medicine for us, offered him all kinds of technology to help advance us.
Yeah.
The other one offered him military technology. And
dang.
he decided to go with military technology because at that time we were in the Cold War with Russia or something of the sort. And that's what we're looking for an edge against them. But who knows? It is a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Dude, just imagine how we can't even get along with other countries. so what I like is I like to play devil's advocate in a lot of things, and my mind just wanders and be like, we can't even get along with Russia.
With humans.
We can't even get along with China. We can't even get along with our own kind, right? Or human kind or human form. Like, how the hell are we creating treaties? Go ahead, Alex.
Chris, you touched about, I'm not particularly religious myself, and to anybody that is, I hope this doesn't offend them, but in the Bible it talks about, there was one particular, I don't remember what chapter it is, but it talks about how the watchers are seeing us build the tower. Yeah. And hey, these guys, if we leave them alone too long, they're going to become just like us. We need to stop them.
Yeah.
And so, people that are religious, they say that we're created by one person, but in that particular chapter, it speaks that there was more than one, that they were watching us, and they decided to separate us so we would not be like them. So I think that kind of touches on the base where they were saying we can't even get along with other nations.
Yeah.
They keep us divided for a purpose.
Dang. Damn.
So if you can imagine if we were together, how we would be as a species.
Exactly.
Species.
Exactly.
It's easier
Dang.
to control.
And another thing too, there's another so how I was talking to you guys about the three different types of aliens, the reptilian humanoids and the Greys, but the Nordics. So these Nordics are basically like these beautiful forms of aliens that look kind of like humans, but they're like, if you see them, you'll think they're humans, and they look very 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 like charming, I guess that's what they say. But these type of aliens basically say, they basically, what I heard was that they came to our government and told them, okay, don't destroy the world. Like basically they're the ones that were helping the government find ways to keep the world together without them having to come down and do it for us. So basically what I'm trying to say is that these aliens, they're not just because if you think about it, they're very powerful. They can come and take us over whenever they want. That's what I believe. They're very 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 powerful. But the reason why they don't do that, and this is my opinion, is because if they came down and started just taking over the world, what that does is it's gonna destroy Earth, Mother Earth, and that's not what they want. They want Mother Earth. They want Earth because it has everything. It has natural resources, the water, grass, mountains. It just has everything, and that's why they're very intelligent by not doing that. Because as soon as they start doing that, then all forms of military start to come together and start basically attacking them, and it's a whole attack, and then it just destroys the world. Basically, so basically they say don't use nukes or atomic weapons. And the reason why they say that to the government is because they don't want us, or they don't want them to destroy what they are seeking for. So
that's so interesting to me, because like it that's like the contract that they have, right? Like they came so that we don't so that like we totally didn't listen to or didn't learn from the way they did it, because the way they did it seemed smart. It seemed smart to not invade. But I feel like, especially as Americans, that's what we do. Like in our wars, we invade other countries and take their resources away. So it's so interesting. It almost seems like a little bit hypocritical in like what we're doing. And I really want to touch on the fact that, like, this whole idea of like they're doing it to control us, and that's I genuinely do believe that, because our government is a big brother. It's literally an organization that tries to control every aspect of society, and I think that's with if there's anything I learned about trying to control something, it's like trying to control the weather. You can't. You can learn to adapt to the weather, but you can't control the weather. And I think that's it's why we have an imbalance of power in our government, but more importantly, we don't have commonality. We don't have unity in our American society. We don't have that at all, and I think that's kind of the government's fault.
Yeah, it's
intentionally.
Well, that,
intentionally,
yes.
Yeah, but
and I also talked tips about the aliens telling us not to use nuclear bombs and that sort of thing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with a book called I believe it's called the Bhagavad Gita. It's an ancient Indian text. It talks about basically ancient astronauts, gods that came down to Earth. They would live amongst us, and they talk about how they would launch spears that sounded like thunder, and they would light up the whole world. And Indian scientists, historians, associate that with the type of nuclear bomb, type of nuclear missile. So these guys, they found ancient sites that have been glassed over completely, that are still radioactive from hundreds of thousands of years ago. So But it's an old saying that says nothing is new under the sun. Also goes into the subject of the ancient Sumerians. They talk about something very similar. If you read the ancient Sumerian text and you read the Bhagavad Gita, they correlate.
Wow.
They talk about the Great Flood. They talk about the planets. Like, how did the ancient Sumerians know the whole solar system before anybody else in history did? You know, it talks about Earth being the fourth planet, not the third planet.
Yeah.
I have a little theory on that, on how they have, you know, these how they have the solar system laid out, and it goes back to, you know, aliens not wanting us to destroy the Earth, Mother Earth, because of the natural resources and, you know, and whatnot. But all these planets around us have some form of concentrate. So some planet, I'm not sure which planets are what, but, you know, we have planets that are just gases. We have planets that are just a bunch of, that it rains diamonds, and we have planets that, you know, it's all basically what I feel is they had that knowledge because those planets that are up in our solar system right now were failures of humans not being able to preserve what they initially had. Yeah. So basically what I'm saying is life, there was life before Earth, and the planets up in space are proof of that. And whatever happened in that lifetime is what destroyed the Earth, and it is what it is now. So let's say Mars. What's Mars? Mars, and astronauts really feel, and scientists feel that there was Earth there, and there was water, and there were natural resources, but for whatever reason,
man destroyed it.
It was wiped out. Yeah, and I really feel that man destroyed it, and it, like I said, it was just failures, human failures, and Earth is try number 13. I don't know how many planets there are.
there's so many.
Yeah, but
what do you?
The Bible talks about. Go ahead, Christian.
No, go. I'm going a whole different topic. You go.
Yeah, no. So in the Bible talks about how we were created, right? Like we were created in His design or in their design. So then you have the contradiction between religion and science that can't seem to come together. Religion says that we were created in His design or in their design, whereas science says that we were a product of evolution. If you believe you're a product of evolution, that's cool, you know. But if you believe that you're a product of intelligent design, you know, then you kind of have to figure, is there one creator or is there more than one creator? And what was our purpose of being created? What purpose do we serve? Like maybe that's why they keep that knowledge hidden from us, because the true purpose of why we're here is something they keep in their back pocket. If you know why you're really here, you're not going to want to live the way they want to live. You're not going to be living by this money, this 9-to-5 lifestyle.
Nope. Hey, you know what? I always had this belief since I was younger, is that we're just an experiment for the future generation, for the future world. That's why we're created with so many different characteristics that they're just experimenting on us to create that utopia that everyone wants to live in, and they're figuring out ways to make it all happen, and we're just here and they're watching over us, and they're like, okay, so that characteristic and that personality and that personality don't mix in, so we're not going to create that in the utopia, so they're out. And you know, and then so they just start. That's what I believed when I was young. I still believe it to this day, that we're just an experiment for the future. But you know, I mean, that's what I believe.
I think I have an example to that.
Go ahead.
And this is something that has always freaked me out, because some people really turn to this to define them, to learn about themselves, and to connect with others. And this is something that I think we can all relate to, and it's horoscopes.
Yeah.
How is it that we have all these horoscopes for people who were born in certain certain days and certain months, who basically, it's like, I see it as a science, and how it's all laid out to, dude, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to explain this.
Psychology specifically, you have to understand that psychology is a science. So words, the way the human understands the words, it's the way their brain processes it. That's psychology. So you're right, and I have to say, I think that there is a way to unite the idea that you can be created by one sole creator, or you can be created through evolution. I think that we live in such a delicate balance, and we are so small compared to what's everything else is big. And I think that science has taught us that we're able to get knowledge, right? But you evolve it into some type of wisdom. But also, it's not to shut down the Bible or shut down any religious document that folks live their life by, because again, that's part of the delicate balance that we and I think that one thing that we can do is coexist. We can coexist together, and I think that that's where we continue falling into making these mistakes because we are not coexisting. We're dividing each other. We're saying it's science is this or the religious is this, but when you recognize it as, or you look at the perspective of like just simple psychology, neither four of us is gonna have the same processes in our brains that I'm having and that you're having and that you're having and that you're having.
Yeah.
Because we live in such a delicate balance, but we can coexist. Yeah. We can, share each other's thoughts and kind of learn from each other and get each other's perspectives. And I think that helps, where we can actually not say that this is wrong or this is right, but really we just don't know. And I think that if we choose to coexist, you start understanding where things like horoscopes, right? Yeah. Horoscopes are, when I took a psychology class in high school, Mr. Watson told me that, or taught our class that horoscopes work because what's happening in the present life of that individual, the words that are being used for that horoscope will tie to it. So it's not that some person just like randomly chose these specific words. No, it's years and years and centuries of understanding what words mean and how these words affect within certain, like if you're born in December, you're Sagittarius, or if you're born between late mid-November and early December, you're Sagittarius, and after the next one after that would be Capricorn. They're gonna have two different experiences, but even the same Sagittarius will have two different experiences. Yeah. They're not gonna agree with everything that they read in their horoscope, but there's gonna be that one thing that ties to, oh my God, this manifests my life, and that's where the belief creates. So I think a lot of times it's not that we believe in, and I'll use myself as an example, I don't believe in everything what the Bible says. I don't believe we need to stone women, for example. But I do understand that in a society where I was in a part of, that was the reality that people lived in. Yeah. When a woman was raped, they had to stone that person to death if they did not go with their rapist, essentially. But in all reality, that's one type of knowledge that once existed. Today, I choose to not actually acknowledge that, or not necessarily not acknowledge it. I'm not going to ignore it because that's still doing something with it. I'm going to look at it and say, actually, I don't agree with that. I'm going to agree with science when science tells me that actually we all have estrogen and testosterone in our body. Yes, I might have more testosterone, but that doesn't make me more of a man. That's just a social construct. And that's where horoscopes really fall into it. A horoscope is a social construct that it's taken philosophers and scientists and there's another name. What is the name of the individual that we used to see come out?
Astrologer?
Astrologer, thank you. The astrologer, that we learn from the science of the astrology, and the astrology has shifted the way and it's how we read horoscopes today. Yeah. You read your horoscope, my horoscope is going to be different from your horoscope, and I probably won't even agree with everything I see on my horoscope, but because there's that one thing that I believe in that does agree with my horoscope, with my life, then that belief process, it's gonna happen, and that's psychology. So it's like it's science working together, and I think religion and spirituality are those things that really we don't have to separate them. We can actually have them coexist.
Yeah. It's time about you guys talking about the horoscope. Right now we're in the time of Aquarius. If you believe in the horoscopes, right now these are the times of Aquarius, and Aquarius is basically the times of people becoming wise and finding out all that, like the wise, your spiritual your spiritual self, all that. And it's crazy how we're talking about like we all of a sudden started a podcast, and now we're because when I read that we're in the times of Aquarius is now that I thought about it, all of a sudden it came to me. We're like, oh, I told you guys, I called you guys up and like, hey, let's start a podcast, like crazy idea, but that's just being wise, man, getting words out, and that's basically right now. If people do believe that the horoscopes and like different generations and times, yeah, right now is that time, like it says, it's time of Aquarius, and it's that time to be wise and find wisdom and basically the truth. And it's crazy, and everything that we're seeing now, like people, technology, like it's just so advanced, dude. Everything's so advanced, and it comes because the times before us, like it was already put out there, like how Diego was talking about how these pyramids were created so perfectly and symmetrically the same in different parts of the world, and I believe that aliens do exist because they're man's technology now. We barely have what it takes to create that exactly the same symmetrically. These aliens came down from wherever they came from, and they had these you have to have these laser type technologies in order to get pyramids smooth and creased the way they are. All those straight lines, dude. It's that to be man-made. I believe. I don't believe it. I believe it was an extraterrestrial. It was a super being.
They line up with the sun at certain times of the year.
Yeah.
They line up certain stars, and then the way that the pyramids line up with the northern star and a few other stars. Just
exactly.
There's no such thing as coincidence.
Yeah.
It also helped us, like our ancient our Aztecs. In Quintana Roo, they have I can't think of the name of it. Chichen Itza. Chichen Itza it was a calendar-based pyramid, but was also used to help determine what crop to produce at certain times of the year, so that crop would flourish.
Yeah.
So even the way we eat our food, we relied on those pyramids.
Yeah, dude. Like, hey, another thing too, just to go off topic real quick. Hey, Aztecs and Mayans, bro. They're very math is in their blood, and freaking they're natural born architects, dude. Those guys created pyramids and colonies on top of water using. It's crazy, dude. I'm telling you.
Diving into that. So Aztecs used to use humans to sacrifice them
for the gods.
For their god, and there, I remember watching. I'm pretty sure it was Ancient Aliens, and it had to do with the Aztecs, speaking to these extraterrestrials, and basically there's a story out there that that these Aztecs were seen, certain people were seen moving or lifting these huge tons and tons these huge blocks to make the pyramids, but it was going to take like thousands of men to actually lift these blocks. But there was one man, and I wish I could remember his name, but I can't. But there was one man that was seen by another man lifting these rocks, not with his hands, but with some extraterrestrial power, and lining them up with the other ones, with the other blocks to create these pyramids. Mm-hmm. And I wish I could remember the story.
Yeah, no, I mean, I believe you, dude. Like, it's
Edward Leeds Skeleton. But I believe Coral Castle is what you're talking about. He had two cone-shaped items that he would touch to the stones, and he'd levitate the stones.
Yes!
Yes.
Yes, I remember seeing it in Ancient Aliens, and dude, it was one of those moments where it was late at night, and I was just so intrigued that at the fact that these pyramids were built in so many parts of the world, and that man was seen carrying these whatever they were, these tong-looking things, and just moving these huge ton blocks, and
Well, I think we're really our science is really touching that ability, or maybe they've always known, but they're just revealing it to us. They're using sound vibrations to levitate things, to move things left and right. I mean, they've done these experiments. If
Yeah.
you YouTube it, you'll see what I'm talking about.
I've seen. I know what you're talking about. I've seen this YouTube video. It was like basically like a music video, but with vibration, and this vibration is just basically is vibration creating so many different objects and like patterns and stuff using different types of sound movement and stuff like that. Dude, I think it's awesome. And then it's crazy though, cause all right, it's crazy though, cause during with that sound with vibration, basically that's what they said God created the world is by vibration. It's he basically caused a beat and vibration to create a tree. Create a human. It's crazy, dude. I forget the exact
yeah,
name.
what culture is that?
No,
Or is that
that's I found out now. It's like something new. Basically, it's just a new studies, and they believe that when God said He created the world in was it 6 days or 6 days, and the seventh day He rested, whatever. In 6 days, then basically what they're saying is, yeah, He used vibrations, the sounds of I don't know if He hummed the sounds or I don't know, but He caused vibrations on Earth, and it started creating these ripple effects on the ground and started creating different things. It's crazy, dude. But if you see like that music video I'm talking about, it's pretty crazy. It's awesome because it's crazy, dude. I'll try to research it or try to find it
I
again.
really want to say this. So are we? Is it, from what I'm hearing and from what I'm understanding, and I honestly I'm so bold to make the statement: God is an alien.
Yeah.
God is
So
an alien.
basically yes, because Buddhists, they all worship the Buddha, right? But Buddha has his third eye. Buddha has a third eye. Hindus, they believe the same thing. Their God has a third eye. So many gods have third eyes in their religion, and it's because that third eye is an ancient astronaut. Basically, that's what they're worshiping is an ancient astronaut, dude. And it's crazy, bro. And that's what. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Finish.
No. I was just gonna go back to where I said Genesis 6, how the fallen angels came down on Earth. That's basically what I'm saying. Thinking is these aliens or these ancient gods or ancient astronauts came down, which were the fallen angels, and started creating these different types of religions and stuff. So basically, that's I don't know. It all comes together somehow. It's weird, bro. It's so weird.
Yeah, well, we may get a lot of hate on this, but if we're gonna talk about, God. Well, I mean, what is God really? Like people say that it's a spiritual. He's he or she or it. It's not in a human form.
It's a spirit.
So if it's not in a human form, what is it?
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy,
it is
dude.
This extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
Being that may have or that created this world, and so they say that scientists say that everything in this on Earth was in space. We're all just debris. We're all just minerals and particles that landed here, after the Big Bang theory. But again, that probably goes back to different beliefs of the Big Bang theory, or us being created by God or whatever you believe in. But to say that God is or our creator is not extraterrestrial, I think is kind of bold. Bold as saying God is extraterrestrial.
Yes.
So if you're saying that he's not or it's not, I think that's just as bold.
Yeah,
because we don't know. We
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
know.
And
Yeah,
I think
it's
that's
crazy.
one of the things that just to touch on religion really quick, it's something that I really had to, like, I used to be, like, anti-religious, and I really had to separate. I'm not anti-religious, I just didn't agree with a lot of the things that I was raised to believe. I was raised Catholic, so I didn't believe in a lot of things that the Bible said. I don't believe that I'm a walking sin for living a lifestyle that I chose to live. I believe that God created me for who I am because that was what I had grown up, right? But I also believe in chemicals, and I believe in energy, and I believe that the chemicals that run through my body create the person that I am, and it's based on the DNA that I have. And I think that being able to have that perspective and have respect for the way I was raised has allowed me to unite the two.
Yeah.
To unite the two in such a way that you're right. It's bold. It's bold because if you don't agree, it's like it's better to say we're bold, because the alternative is we're damned if we do, damned if we don't, and I feel like that's just too negative. Whereas if we're bold, we're able to actually, what's the word I'm looking for? Stand in our truth without shame.
Yeah.
Stand in our truth without shame, and I believe that's what's going to help. When we stand in the truth without any shame, you're able to even see different perspectives and understand. And it's not that you have to live that, but you actually get to be okay with the way another person's choosing to live. So, like, if I choose to not be Catholic anymore, it doesn't mean that I don't love my family, who might grow up to that have those values. More than anything, I think that when you what's the word? There's a quote that I'm looking for. If you find yourself to be in a world that you don't belong or you don't fit in, it's because you are the person that's meant to help build another world that's going to actually be different, but not to say that that's wrong. It's just to say that this is another perspective. This is another perspective of how I'm going to choose to live my life, and I validate your perspective on the way that you live your life, because that's your truth.
Yeah.
And in no way I'm trying to compare us to Socrates, but Socrates was a philosopher who questioned a lot and questioned everything, right? And maybe he was an alien. I don't know. At the fact that he was able to view things in a different way, kind of pointed the fingers at him, or like kind of he had a lot of eyes on him. He had a lot of people following him, and I don't even know where I'm going with that, but I'm questioning everything. Everything's an alien. Everybody can be an alien, and it's just a matter of finding what's what, who's what, and what. So many questions. I don't know.
One of the figures that I've had that since we started this conversation, when we were talking about how, like, they try to cover Christian, I think you were talking about how they criminalized a person, and a person that I have the most respect, but was also seen as, like, I think they were on the FBI's most wanted list, was Martin Luther King, a person who advocated for human rights. And so I think that Martin Luther King was an alien.
Bro,
possible,
bro. I mean, they were sent here for a reason. You know, like how I was saying that aliens, Nordics were came in contact and communication with humans so that we won't destroy what they want, and that's Earth. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it may be a message, you know, maybe a messenger from them, being sent from, you know, just so they can, you know, just not destroy what they want. But it's crazy, like how let's talk. You want to talk about abductions? You guys, yeah, like.
You need to talk about the whole Big Brothers idea, like, because they try to keep so much control. I mean, Martin Luther King was murdered, so really, like, that. I think that there's different forms of abductions, right? Abductions where you're taken, when it comes to alien species, right? When we're talking about aliens, you can be taken and probably just your car got left behind. I know one of the articles I was reading was, let me see if I have it here. I just want to quote the names correctly. But essentially, they just disappeared, but their items were found. Like, their items were there where they were at. It was only god, I can't seem to find it. But essentially that there's also the form of like these, because the life doesn't exist anymore. It happens to some folks like Martin Luther King, who was such a figure for some people as like a priest, and for other people like the FBI, they wanted him because. And then what I believe in is that we live in such a delicate balance, and where I wrote it down, we live in such a delicate balance, but we're disturbing that balance. We're disturbing it in such a way that we're not able to learn from our history in ways that we could. We could totally learn from our history, and if we do believe that aliens or extraterrestrial, that's what helped the world that we live in today to help protect it. I mean, we're not protecting it.
Nope. Yeah. It's crazy, dude. Like, so have you guys ever heard about the 37th parallel? Have you heard about that, Alex? It's basically a line that goes through the states. I believe it's like the south of Utah and Arizona. So basically, it's a whole line that stretches throughout the world, and it's they call it the 37th parallel. I don't know exactly why. It might be the degrees or all this, all this stuff. But the thing is, in that, it's basically a highway for UFOs, and that's where UFOs have been spotted throughout the whole world. It's just basically all kinds. It's it's a highway for UFOs. Is where a lot of clips have been captured at. A lot of people have been abducted from, and it all lies in between that whole line. And it's crazy, dude, because like I said, I believe there is I think the New Mexico the Roswell crash. There's a Roswell crash in Roswell, New Mexico. It's crazy, dude, because this guy basically he finds this object after it crashes, and he identifies it as like an object that can be broken, bent, burned, or anything, and it's a silver-shaped disc. And so he calls the Air Force. The Air Force the commander, he comes in or whatever, and he looks at it, and he basically says, yes, this is a UFO. And this is the military saying this. And so they take it to a conference. They're at a conference, a meeting or whatever, and he says, yeah, we identified it, and it is it's a UFO, an unidentified flying object. Then the next day he comes back, and he says, you know what? No, it's not. All of a sudden, it's not, because there's the. Say it and go again.
They said it's a weather balloon. They changed the story.
Yeah, they changed the story. They go back and say it's a weather balloon. But they were saying that during those times, but the guys that found it said during those times, the weather balloon wasn't like that. It wasn't shaped like that, or and so how we were talking how we were talking about back in the and earlier in the podcast, where I'm saying there's ways they're keeping things from us and stuff like that. And that's one incident with the Roswell crash in New Mexico. This guy, like I said, he finds it. He lets the military know. Military comes, confirms it, says it is a UFO. Then they come back the next day and change their whole story, and like how Alex said, it was a weather balloon. Dude, and it's crazy, bro, because like they start finding different things. Like they found a rock. They found a rock, like a stone type thing with the engrave on there with hieroglyphics on it as well. The hieroglyphics that was carved into that stone was similar to ones that were found in some other part of the world, dude. But then they start investigating it more and start saying, no, it's not. That one's that's man-made and this and that. But I don't know. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of truth out there that's being hidden from us. But yeah, that 37th parallel it's cool.
The 37th parallel is 37th parallel or 32nd parallel?
37th parallel.
37th parallel, is that near the Bermuda Triangle? Like off the coast of the Bahamas?
I'm not sure. I know it's. I don't know where it stretches from.
Okay.
I know it stretches from. It starts from like Utah, Arizona, New Mexico. It starts just keep going down and down and down and down. I forget that there's like eight U.S. states, eight of them that it crosses through, and basically these people have been abducted from there, and there's been these abductions that have happened, and it's crazy though, because like they say their stories and this and that, but a lot of it, what I think is crazy is that a lot of people say that when they start explaining their abduction, they start saying that um, I don't know if you heard about anal probes, all that stuff, experimenting on humans and stuff, and a lot of people that testify or not testify but explain their experience. They say these things, but then like it's crazy though, because those same people they've been like they've been victims to like being molested and stuff when they were younger or during those times, and a lot of the times people are saying that that's what actually happened is they weren't abducted, but they were victims to like rape and stuff. It's crazy. I don't know.
What's the correlation there?
So basically, there's these people that were saying that
It's their credibility.
yeah, I don't know, they're just saying that, and then the people that are talking to these people are like, well, weren't or were you molested or were you raped any time in your childhood, and that makes you believe that you're abducted, but this actually was one of your uncles or whatever, and it's crazy, dude. Like I don't know, I feel like that's a way for them to cover up what's really going on. Like,
Yeah.
so it's that's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's so about the. Yeah. And so to talk a little about the Bermuda Triangle, so so there's planes that have been flown over, and we don't know what it is, but there's some kind of gravitational force that pulls the airplanes into the ocean, into the water, and then they disappear, right? So there have been several cases where.
Right.
What?
Same with boats as well.
Yeah, there's been a lot of boats,
Yeah, so-
planes.
Yeah, boats, and just different things that just disappear, and there's been more than one time where that's happened. But again, there's no like legitimate, concrete evidence as to what happened to those ships
Yeah.
or planes.
I will add, there's no concrete evidence that experiencing childhood trauma is, well, here, let me rephrase that. Adverse childhood experiences has taught us that your brain does change, but it changes. I don't think it changes in this. Science doesn't say that it changes in the way that you're not creditable in it. But I also think that that's, like we were saying, like control, power and control. That's exactly what it is. They're wanting to shift our perspective on the way we see it, so now we lose credibility with this person. When in reality, we know that actually this is the most credible person you want to believe.
Yeah, and
It's
that's
crazy.
yeah,
It's
and then
crazy.
and then they start putting
It's
these.
What was that?
It's a discredit to
It's
what?
like discredit the witness. It's what you do in a court case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what they're doing. Like when people come up with these stories and stuff, and
It's a whole power and dominance structure. Like when you focus on, when you know that the power and that's how power and dominance works. That's what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that power and dominance works in the way that you don't look at the person or the structure and power. You look at the possessive person, the passive person, that being the victim, that being the witness, and that's we haven't learned from our past.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yo, so going back to abduction. So there have been stories of people being abducted, right? And these are stories that all sound similar. So people have been abducted. They were somewhere. They saw a big bright light. Last thing they remember is waking up in the middle of some type of procedure. And after this procedure, they wake up back wherever they were before they were abducted, and they don't feel right. They see a doctor. Doctor runs X-rays, runs all kinds of scans, and all of these people have one thing in common, and that's something metallic inside them, where they felt they were probed, and it's some type of foreign object that is inside them.
It's like a chip. It's like being chipped.
What?
Yeah,
Why?
I don't know. That's the what we don't know. Why? Government knows why.
I know, like, just in terms of the science behind, like, your nervous system, but your nervous system essentially, like, when you go through any event in your life, like whether it's a car accident or you get married, like your body produces chemicals that your body will never be the same after that, because that's what the chemical does essentially. So I think I want to correlate somehow how, like, maybe that's the metallic thing that it is, because your body can't stay the same. Essentially that's what the event does to you, whether it's being taken and being abducted, or, like I said, getting married, right? The serotonin that's produced in your body is going to shift your body from that day and forward. That's the same metallic. I'm correlating. I'm using that perspective of, like, that's probably what that metallic particle is. It's just because it's
maybe a
extraterrestrial. It's that metallic form. So again, like, a marriage will be something like serotonin, whereas, like, some type of trauma, it's going to produce cortisol and adrenaline, which deteriorates your bones in your body. So it still has the marks on your body. Same with, like, abduction, like that metallic. There's a metallic. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, they were saying a metallic type of. And like a chip type metallic, I don't know, something. Yeah. But they're all, like how they were saying, they're all everybody that was a victim to an abduction have that similar thing going on. But yeah, and then
Here's a question in regards to the abductions and the abductees remembering everything and having flashbacks and all that. You don't think that these things were? What are you theorizing, that they come from far away, right? From a different planet, different galaxy, different dimension? Where are we saying that they come from?
Anything outside of this Earth. I think anything outside of this Earth.
I feel like it's a parallel universe. There's parallel.
So let's say that. Let's go with the highest theory. They come from a parallel universe. These beings that are able to traverse through dimensions. They are so advanced. They're so powerful. They're way past us. And to touch on the subject of psychology, they possibly understand that, and the human body with the chemicals that we release, as you said. You don't think these guys would be able to bypass that and block that aspect of our body in order to keep us from fully remembering or even having glimpses of that memory? You know, what can I say is, if they're so advanced, if they're so powerful, they're so beyond us, why are they not able to impede us from remembering that?
Because we wouldn't be having these discussions today. That would be too concrete. It's too much facts. It's too easy.
It may be.
It's too easy.
Yeah, it may be a like how Dio was saying. It might be they want you to know some, but they want you to keep guessing. Right. I don't know. That's a good question. It's a trip.
It's out of their control. It's out of their power. Your body doesn't forget. So, like, just like, if I drink water right now,
he's drinking water, guys.
My body cannot forget that I drink water. If I was to be drinking a beer, my body won't be able to forget that I drank the beer, because that's what happened with it. It's my truth. It's my lived experience. Whether I remember or not, my body doesn't forget. So even if I don't have the conscious of it, it doesn't mean it didn't happen. And so I think that's where it has, like, as powerful and everything as they are, I mean, we all have our limits, and I think that when it comes to the human body, that's kind of something that's out of their not, I don't know if I want to say realm, but essentially your body just won't forget. That's something that they can't manipulate. That they can like your body will create different type of chemicals, foreign chemicals, things like that. But essentially, if you are abducted from Earth and then you come back and then you have all these different bodily actions, bodily things that are happening within your like flashbacks, all these other things that can be associated to like something like PTSD or just live life the way you live your life. I think that that's something that they don't have power or control over. That's how I see it.
It may be a fright thing where someone's too scared to even basically even try to fight that, because who knows what if that person that was an abductee that went through that experience and them keep thinking of ways to find ways to erase that from their mind, and them getting abducted again, doing the whole process all over again. It's something they don't want to go over, like how you're saying PTSD. It's something that keeps affecting them over and over and over, and they don't want to. I don't know. It's a crazy. It's a trip. It's a crazy question, dude. You have me tripping on it.
I know, dude. I can't even get a straight answer out.
Yeah, I'm like.
Okay, so what Alex was one of the things. So he asked that why not remove that metal object that is physical evidence to what they did, right? We don't know what it is. We don't know exactly what he did because, these people, whether they're being discredited or they or whatever it is there isn't actual evidence other than what they thought happened.
Yeah, and it's basically their word versus whoever's word, and that's the thing that
I've had some dreams. I've had some dreams where I thought they were real.
Yeah,
like they're real. I woke up. I almost fell off my bed because I was scared or I was dying. I was falling in my dream. It feels real. Your body reacts to it. Yeah. But,
see, and like I was saying, like their word versus whoever's other word, and when an abductee gets abducted and goes through this and explains this to somebody, automatically we think they're crazy. And what do you, when someone goes through that and say you went through something similar and you try to explain yourself to someone, that person, majority of the time they're gonna think you're crazy. And how's that gonna make you feel as a person? You're like, damn, like you just keep thinking.
I'm not even bringing it up.
It's humanistic gaslighting.
Yeah.
It's gaslighting in a non domestic type of relationship. It's your word against society's, and it's still gaslighting. It's still the reality that you have your truth, and nobody can take that truth away from you. But yet, that's what's happening. And so you start questioning your own truth. You start thinking you actually are crazy, or that maybe this didn't happen, or maybe it was a dream. But that's what gaslighting is. Gaslighting is the reality. When somebody gaslights you, it's manipulation. It's complete manipulation, and that's why earlier I was saying, like, it's a social construct. It's something that society has created.
Yeah.
It's not something that we as humans can oftentimes validate because we are a product of our own society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and dude, the gaslighting, that's a new word that just came about to define what you're talking about, and so it's something that's been around, but it keeps, these words and these things just keep coming out as new. But really, if I came out and I told you guys right now, hey, I'm an alien, y'all gonna think I'm crazy. Just like when Jesus walked the earth some time ago, and he told everybody that he was the Son of God, he was Jesus. Everybody thought he was crazy until he did what he did. So
now then everyone
our generation. What's up?
And then everyone felt bad. And after they were like, "Oh damn,
oh shit, man." Yeah. So it's not to desensitize the subject.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is if I came out and I told everybody, hey, I'm Jesus, I'm an alien, and I'm here to save the world. Welcome me,
Yeah.
or I'm gonna get my homies to adopt you. Like,
Yeah.
y'all would think I was crazy, but this is something that I think being in I think this is something that society and the government has to do a huge part of, and at the fact that you are gonna look crazy. You're gonna look crazy if you say these things, and if it's not gonna be in a group setting where everybody believes something like that, then hey, you're gonna be looked at like you're crazy. Just like a lot of these people who are being abducted, they have stories, and something that I've always said was that if somebody firmly believes that they've been abducted, or if somebody firmly believes that they've been wronged, or if somebody truly believes that something happened to them, whether it did or it didn't, guess what? It happened. Because in their head, it happened. So for you to try and convince somebody else that didn't happen will make you look like the crazy one versus the person that it happened to. So what I'm trying to say is that if somebody firmly believes something, like, hey, it's probably true, whether it's true or not physically, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, for sure, because your body produces it's what's the chemical it produces? Your fear response produces cortisol, which and that's fear. Fear is whether it's physically or not physically there, your body believes that it is, and so your body will not forget that it did it. And if it does, it's a survival thing. It's doing it because it's trying to make you survive. It's trying to, your brain itself can't process the information that's been given to you, the reality that you lived in, so you're in a state of shock. And so that's where you have to give yourself some time to really understand that after the flashbacks and all these things that start coming back, question it for yourself. Don't give in to that idea that people think you're crazy. Know in your heart that that's your body. It's your body. So it's like, for example, when a child wakes up from a nightmare and the parent wants to console them, well, don't tell them it's just a nightmare. Validate the fear, because if you validate the fear, then you're going to start the healing process so much faster. If you say, oh, it's just a nightmare, there's no monsters under your bed, they're already the psychological effect that's going to happen to them is that they're thinking that they're already wrong, and so they're going to have to jump that hurdle first before they can even move into what reality actually is. And so that's why I would say just give the child a nightlight. They need the nightlight in that moment so that they can actually get to sleep, so that they have that either dream again or they wake up that next morning and they actually don't even remember the dream anymore, because their bodies as a survival skill, their body's gonna forget it, their brain's gonna forget it. And in the future, when they're watching scary movies, yeah, maybe that next night they might have some nightmares, but that's because that's the natural processes of what happened to the child when they experienced that nightmare. And we're talking nightmares, right? We're not talking about I'm sorry, what was that?
I said I think that would be a great subject for another podcast. That's a total.
That's a whole nother one. Cause I remember night lights.
Yeah.
I have a 4-year-old that she wakes up and she has maybe when she's had some very vivid nightmares where she's awake but she's not quite out of the dream. She's still dreaming, and yeah. So what you're saying, it is a very real thing, and it takes a lot of patience and understanding to help them get out of that, because they don't quite grasp the concept that the dream is not reality, even though in their head it is, but it is just a dream. Like you said, you have to help them understand that the fear that they have, they're not going to understand their dreams are their subconscious fears. They're not quite there yet. So that's something that is a very good subject for another
Heck yeah.
conversation.
Or aliens are trying to take over their minds
Ooh.
from a young age.
I have a question. just because there's 3 different very perspectives outside of mine here, and I'm just curious as to what you guys would say is, if an alien, we'll call it an alien because we don't know what they are, were to appear in front of you at this very moment, what would you do?
I'd be hospitable. Like, I'd be like, what's up? Would you like some water? Do you drink water, beer? I know it sounds very human.
It's a different life form. What if water is toxic to them? It's a different life form. Let's assume it's not carbon based.
Are they speaking English?
And then that's what I was saying.
Let's say there's no communication barrier, but there is a lack of knowledge between from your end. Not on their end. They understand you, but you don't understand them. What would you do? What would you ask them?
That's interesting because I've read a lot about aliens and they don't even use words. Like, they use mind control. Like, you're able to hear, or you're able to
whatever you're thinking.
I don't even know how to say it.
It's whatever you're thinking. Yeah. They can know how to. It's a telepath. Was it telepath? Telepath. It's a way of. Yeah, telepathic information basically is what they're.
Would the word something like intuitive be a little bit more appropriate? Like, where you would want to I like not like read bodies, like body cues, body language. Like, if they're obviously approaching you like in a
they aren't.
What was that?
They aren't humans. They aren't human. We're working on the assumption here that they aren't human. They are not like me and you. They don't live by our rules. If they, he, she were to appear in front of you at this given moment, what would you do? And I'm going to throw that at ET first.
I would, honestly, after hearing some of the, and saying my perspective, I would stop and then just say, like, let them take the initiative into whatever they're, because if they came here to me, then there's nothing I can do in that moment than to shut up and listen and, like, really take in and absorb what is it that they're wanting to communicate to me. They have that power. I don't. I can only assume, but I think I would stop, take a deep breath, and then let them take the initiative, move forward, like take the steps into, or right, whatever it is that they are looking for. I would let them do it. I wouldn't try to coerce the situation. I wouldn't try to, like I said, ask them for water. In retrospect, no, that's not actually the smartest thing to do. I would actually just pause. I would maybe let myself get a water. That's the pause that I need to move from my fear response up to my knowledge response, my wisdom response, and say, like, okay, there's something happening here. But that's my answer.
How about you, Chris?
I'd probably be like, hey, can I call my supervisor? I'm not going to work today. Nah. I'm with Nano, dude. Exactly what Nano said. I mean, what I would answer is, what is it that you need from me, or what is it that I have that you want, you know? And yeah, I mean, they basically can do. I don't know. Like I said, they're powerful, man. That's a crazy question, Alex. Again.
I love that question.
And so I can, I can say what I think I do, and it's probably what I've done.
Run.
In the past. No, hell no. So I'm gonna use an example, and it's something that exists, but that we don't usually come across, and it's a bear. So you're out camping. You're with friends. You're doing your thing. You got a bonfire going. It's night. It's late at night. You hear something. You know what it is. You hear the grunts, but you don't. You think you know what it is, right? And it's not until you actually physically see it is where you realize what it is, right? It's a fucking bear. I've never seen a bear in person before. Well, after those incidences, yeah. But the first question that pops in my head is like, is that really a bear? So I think I would question, is that really an alien? Like, is this really what it is? Like, am I dreaming? Is somebody messing with me? did Alex go to a Halloween store and put a alien suit on? I don't know. And so what I would do is first I'd question whether this was real or not. And the fact that I would question something like that something that's in front of me, kind of gives me an idea that, shit, I don't know. I really don't know what I would do besides question whether it's real or not. And if I decided, or if the alien helped me decide that it was real, then hey man, it's all fair game, and I'm gonna punch that fool in the throat. Like,
Oh my gosh.
Straight up. We're throwing down.
Hey,
we're
get.
throwing down because
You gotta get.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
But that's what you do. Water.
Hey,
Water because
hey.
because literally you're in your fear response. You're in your stem part of your brain.
Damn straight.
Everything that comes out of like that you have no control over stems from that your reptilian side of the brain fight, and his reaction would be perfectly normal.
Hey.
So a lot of people, like,
That's true.
Let me input
I'm
this.
gonna touch you.
Let me input this.
Was it pretty-
Hey, Diego can say he punched an alien. He got one in, you know.
I probably punched a few in the past. I don't know.
But was
After
it-
he did that, we got the opportunity to say that.
What was that again?
I said if he did that, would the alien give you the opportunity to say that? Would the alien allow it? Like,
You need to stop, Alex.
Continued.
Yeah.
I would do like that, like dodge thing maybe. I don't know.
Nah, then
I don't know.
they'll
That's
think
so-
they'll think Diego's crazy. Nah,
What happened?
they'll think Diego's crazy. Like, nah, you didn't punch an alien. You're crazy.
But see, that's society is.
Yeah,
No one's gonna believe me anyways.
yeah.
yeah.
I would believe.
Hey,
Hey, I swear.
I wanna-
saw the bear. I saw it.
Since Alex is.
Did you punch the bear too?
Huh?
Did you punch the bear?
Oh hell no! I thought no.
You gotta stay. You gotta stay
Busted up
still.
the pots in the pants.
You gotta stay still with the bear. Don't move.
Oh man.
Nah. Hey, Alex. Since you're asking these questions, I want to ask you a question. Is why is the government keeping this from us?
For control, you gotta break down the word government, what it means. The word, there's a prefix and a suffix to the word government. Ment means mind. Govern means to control the mind.
Ah.
Fuck.
Nice.
So that's what their purpose is to control you. That's why I guess the founding fathers, maybe they knew more than what we know now, but they always said keep your government small. Don't let them exceed their power from what you allow them to have. Where are we now? They're watching me. They're watching all of you guys that are listening to us. They know everything we do. There's a microphone and a camera in your pocket at all given times. There was once upon a time when my teacher would say, "You're not always going to have a calculator in your pocket." Guess what? I have a freaking computer in my pocket at all times now, and it's a tracking device, and it monitors your heart rate. It monitors everything about you.
It's crazy.
So-
It's true.
That's why it's to control you. But back to the question that I asked you guys, I'll answer it just to be fair, is like Nano said, your reaction is going to be coming from the stem of your brain, your fight or flight response. And there's two sides of you. The side of you that's either going to be primitive, either going to be fighting or running away, but you also have your mind, your higher intellect that's going to want to know. Like, I want to know, what is you? What are you doing here? And I would be torn between the adrenaline just pumping through my body, go, you know? And the other side of it is like, hold on a second. What's up? I want to know about you. Like, as much as they want to know about us, which they probably know everything about us, our entire biology, I would want to know about them too. Like, I'm primitive compared to them. We're assuming that they have higher technology, all this good stuff, right? We're here, we're incandescent lights, whatever. They have, who knows what they have. I would want to know, why are you here? What do you want? And I would have to fight that initial reaction of punching it in the throat or running out the door to wanting to be civil, like Nano said, and what's going on. You know, like I would be very torn. That's not.
But so that goes back to okay. So they already know about you. So okay, they said the aliens in front of us, or they already know about us. They know how we're gonna react. They know pretty much how the situation's gonna go. So me personally, never have I ever seen anything unidentifiable. And I'm going back to even, and this, I know this is off subject, but ghosts and spirits and you know, things happening, because I think there's a relevancy there of extraterrestrials and, you know, spirits and ghosts in the past life. But I've never had experiences like that. You know, there's a term called divine intervention, where but I personally, I've never seen, you know, space disc lying around. I've never seen that, but I do know people who have, and they swear to, and they swear that what they saw was real, and it's something that was clear enough as day. That was clear in the day. They saw a disc be there and move really, really fast in zigzag motions, and then just disappear. So what I'm saying is, maybe they do know that. They do know me. They do know how I think, and they know that. They know how I would react. So I've never had the opportunity to give them the opportunity, you know, to, you know, visit me. Have you guys had anything like that happen to you, to where you're like, damn, that was probably an alien,
you know,
damn, you know, that was...
There was one time we were playing basketball, and when it was like probably like 8 at night. We're playing at the apartments, and it was crazy, dude, because it was everybody that was there playing basketball at the time. One of us had looked up, and dude, there's this like bluish, silverish, like light, all the way up, like far up in the sky, and it was just doing this. It was doing like a circular motion, one like that, and then going and going. All right, and it's just going in circles like this, but moving forward, like moving in a straight line, just doing this. And it was just one light doing that, and we're like, what the heck? Like, for sure it wasn't a plane. Plane don't do that. But it was crazy, dude. Like, we're like, it couldn't be a drone. It was too high up there. It was way up there. And then all of a sudden it's going and going and going and disappears. And it's crazy though, because a lot of us...
an air balloon?
I don't know. I couldn't see it. It was dark. All we seen was that light. But the thing was, we're like, the cool part about it is, everyone that was there playing basketball, there's at least 8 or 10 of us playing basketball, and everyone's seen it, dude. Everybody's seen it, and that's one thing we all share together. And we explained, like I'm saying, we explained this to somebody, and everyone's gonna think you're crazy.
Because we weren't there.
Yeah, exactly.
You shared this with me before, and I guarantee you, I believed you.
Yeah.
That was with you were with Nano, right? And was your middle school basketball team, wasn't it?
No. This was like a couple years ago, like 2-3 years ago. Yeah, this was pretty recent. Yeah, and dude, this thing was crazy, dude, and I swear that it's unidentified to me, because I don't know what it was. It's a UFO to me. So
imagine how many other people saw that.
Exactly.
That wasn't in that, and that wasn't where you were. So it's not. It wasn't in the 8 or 10 of you. It was other people, you know, in a different part of the world.
Yeah.
That saw that same thing. But it's still like right now. Like you keep saying, I don't know, and you saw it.
I do know.
Saw it. And exactly, and that's what I'm saying is that it's so instilled in our brain that, you know, these things may or may not be real, that we question it, even though you saw it, and you knew it wasn't a plane, couldn't have been a drone. Like, you logically canceled out these possibilities.
Yeah.
But till this day, how long ago was that?
It was like 2-3 years ago. It was recent.
So 2-3 years ago, and till this day, you keep saying, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's because it's been instilled in our brains
You're
to
programmed.
question it, to
Yeah.
question.
Dude, that is crazy stuff. Hey, so how I was asking Alex, why is it they keep it from us and stuff like that? Another thing I wanted to ask you guys is, okay, so we all know about the conspiracy theory about how Armstrong took his first step on the moon and stuff like that, right? Do you guys believe that? Do you believe he actually, or what, or was it? Did they go to space, or was it all created in an auditorium, or in a big old?
Go into it.
Here we go.
Who's
So
first?
so hold on.
You first.
So this touches upon the alien side too. So, but I want you guys to answer that first. Do you guys believe in that, or was it a or was it a fake? Did they fake it out to make us believe, or make other countries believe that we had men on the moon?
I believe both, but I'm gonna let somebody else go first.
All right.
I was gonna use my idea of using this idea of coexisting, where enough people don't believe in it that it's a conspiracy theory that it never happened, and there's like validation to that is that like there's not a lot of oxygen, something about like oxygen on the moon, so therefore the flag couldn't have waved. But then there's enough people and there's enough dedication, like our NASA's freaking huge. So like, and in terms of like America's history, like America wanted to beat Russia in terms of getting there. So if they lied about it, I wouldn't be surprised. And if they didn't lie about it because they were so determined, I wouldn't be surprised. I think it was like,
yeah. Diego, what do you think?
Dude, I remember watching those videos, and again, it was always late at night where, you know, these conspiracies were coming out. So the flag, the prints, the footprints, the background.
No stars in the background.
Yeah, so dude, I can't help but think logically, and so I too cancel, you know, possibilities out. But just to answer the question, do I not believe? Yes.
All right.
I believe we went to the moon.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, Alex. You're gonna get yeah.
So the answer is I believe both. I believe we did go, but I believe that what they showed us, the footage, is falsified. But damn, I'm losing my train of thought here. There's divine intervention going on. I believe we did go, but I believe what they showed us was not the actual footage of what really happened. That was just for our sake. So yeah, we went to the moon. Yeah, hey, check it out. It's all great. There's nothing going on up here. But there's a theory. It's a conspiracy theory, obviously, because we don't have any actual facts. Is that we were warned not to go back. We were told to stay off the moon. That it was not ours to touch, and that it did not belong to us. I'm gonna dive back into it. In the Bible, they saw us watching. They watched us building a tower. That was gonna reach the heavens, right? So if you apply the Bible in its modern terms, that tower is essentially a rocket launch pad.
Yeah.
What did we do? With that rocket launch pad, we put men in space. We reached the heavens. We did what they did not want us to do. And therefore, they're like, hey, yo, you guys go back and pretend that we don't exist. Keep your mouth shut. We're watching you. We know what you're doing.
big brother.
Yeah, well,
Theory.
All right. So, dude, that's all.
this is subjective.
That's all good. That's good answers, everybody. So, the reason why I asked this question is because me, as like how Alex said, I believe it, and I don't. Well, I believe it, and I don't believe it. And this is my reason. So first of all, I believe in the conspiracy that we didn't go on the moon. We didn't go to the moon. It was all fake, shot in a studio in Hollywood or something, wherever, in a big old spot where they can get all that, the moon features and the flag and all that stuff.
Hollywood.
Huh? Yeah, yeah, and then but
Thanks.
but the reason why I asked this is because I was listening to another conspiracy theorist that was saying, well, Armstrong, he they landed on the moon. So this is my part where I believe that they did go to the moon. They go to the moon, landed on the moon. Uh, Armstrong takes his left foot, steps on the moon, and as soon as he steps, he's looking to a side, looking around. You know, it's normal. We wanna see what's around us, so he does that. And when he's starting to say, or when he's starting to see, he starts to say, "Hey, I see something over there that's looking at me." And when he starts explaining this, everyone at NASA were listening on the radios, and all of a sudden they start taking down the screens, taking down every screen down, and NASA says it's technical difficulties, but really what Armstrong was seeing was possibility an alien or a UFO or something out there, extraterrestrial, and that's like I'm saying is they're keeping stuff from us. And that right there, where we sent men on the moon and they seen something, all of a sudden technical difficulties start happening before any information was leaked. And it's crazy though. That's why I say I believe it, and then I don't believe it. But it's crazy. I don't know.
I actually seen a movie, and it wasn't until maybe, I don't know, sometime after, where I realized, like, oh man, that movie was fake. But there was this movie, and it was about astronauts who went into space, and they were trying to, obviously investigate the planet, but they were trying to find extraterrestrials. So in this movie, it was filmed like a documentary, which is why it was so convincing to me. And basically there was astronauts, there was people who made it to, I'm not sure if it was the moon or if it was Mars. I'm pretty sure it was the moon because it was so realistic. But there were moments where the movie turned into this kind of like the sci-fi type of movie. And I wish I could remember what it was called. I think I have it, and there's a box of like 200 DVDs.
Is it the movie? I believe they went to Mars and they walked into a pyramid or something like that, and that pyramid shows them how we were seeded on Earth by the original people of Mars.
Oh shoot, no, but that sounds interesting. So I can probably, I think I own it, but yeah, so basically it was filmed like a documentary, and it was, and I got the impression that it was what may have happened when astronauts visited the moon.
Yeah.
Where they found extraterrestrials. But in this movie, they actually show them. But dude, it was so realistic to where I was just questioning whether it was real or not. But at the fact that it was similar to what may have happened when Armstrong and when we visited the moon, because I feel as if a lot of these movies, a lot of these shows have some truths to them.
Yeah.
Whether it's depicted in 100% or whether it's kind of tweaked a little bit, I feel there's truths to it.
There's some things they let them leak. There's things and there's things they had to keep keep hidden and secret from other people. Yeah. But that's cool though, because there's this other thing. There's this question, well, not a question, but yeah, it's a question for people who are non-believers, who don't believe that aliens are real or exist, any extraterrestrials exist. So whoever's a subscriber, ask yourself this: if you don't believe it, ask yourself, if we were able to send men out to outer space on the moons and different, or even see outer space, don't you think aliens came from wherever they came from and came into our world, or into our Earth? Ask yourself that. Like, if we're able, with the intelligence that we have, to send human beings to outer space, don't you think aliens with their intelligence, high intelligence, were able to send their people over here, are able to basically communicate with us and to
Colonize.
say again.
Colonize.
Yeah, colonizes.
Colonize. So for all the history buffs out there, again, I'll repeat it. I recommend reading about ancient Sumerian history, how their culture just popped up out of nowhere, and also read that ancient Indian script, the Bhagavad Gita. Read both of those, and you're going to see they have a lot in common with the Bible. They have a lot in common with, a lot of the ancient cultures in history have a lot in common, like what you were saying. So, read. Knowledge is power.
Heck yeah. Yeah, so.
Scary.
Heck yeah. And
That's scary because we don't know, man. We don't know. So all we can do is just keep searching, keep looking stuff up, and this is where, again, hey, this is the reason, right? Fan cast. This is the reason why we're doing what we're doing. We have 4 opinions, and we have a few other 100 people with their opinions who can chime in on the comments and
let us know.
write down what they feel.
We don't know, but somebody does.
And we're trying to get to that.
Somebody's with them.
Okay, maybe you guys can help me. There's like this thing about like the two truths. There's never just two truths. But like if you have one perspective and another perspective, there's all like your side of the story is your truth, your side of the story,
Yeah.
And then there's the third truth, which is what actually happened, what actually is in existence, and that's the part that unfortunately, we cannot be that judge, but in terms of this, we can, in the sense of like for our own selves. Like, I feel like so much now, like so many notes now of information that I want to dive more into and see like what is actually, how much close to the truth, that third truth, can I get out of it now that hearing all what would you each and every one of you have to say about all of this.
So. I keep repeating about the ancient Sumerians, and I keep repeating about the Bhagavad Gita. I'll speak a little bit more on the ancient Sumerians because I have the Bhagavad Gita, but it's translated into English. The ancient Sumeria is, I believe, something you guys would enjoy researching. What it talks about is that there is a planet that circles the sun once every 300 or 3,000 years or so. And this planet is inhabited by a species similar to us in appearance, but they're way past us. How do I say this? They're more advanced, for lack of better words. And their atmosphere, this is according to Zechariah Sitchin. He's the author of the book. I don't remember the name. But what he talks about is that this planet is full of species of people that destroyed their atmosphere, and they need gold to keep their atmosphere alive. And basically, they found this planet which was full of resources. I believe one of you guys said that before. It's full of resources that they could use. And what they did is they came to this planet. They're like, okay, cool, check it out. This place has everything we need. Let's get what we can. And after a while of their own people getting tired of working here, there was a rebellion. They decided to say, hey, check it out. Our people are tired of working. We need to do something. And then they took a primitive life form from this planet, mixed it in with their DNA, and lo and behold, we have us, the human. They used us to mine gold for their purposes, so they can do whatever they want with it. And their species started intermixing with ours, and here we are. There's a whole lot more to it, but that's why I recommend you guys look into it yourselves.
It sounds like
I'm not able to it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It sounds like what, Nano?
I said it sounds like white supremacy.
It's past. It's not. You're looking at it from a human perspective. You have to look at it from an intellectual perspective, also psychological perspective. We are at the top of the food chain on our planet, but according to them, in their history, We are not. We are just a product of somebody else's creation.
Well, that might go back to us being the experiment, right?
Exactly.
Right. So okay. Right. So being an experiment is So that makes sense. Okay. So because we've been living, and as long as we've been living in this world, we are experiments to future generations, because we wouldn't be where we are now, questioning all this without the past happening. So what I'm saying is, dude, we're just a bunch of lab rats to whoever or whatever it is that made us or is controlling us. Dude, this is scary. I don't know. I'm getting scared.
I feel like I can do so much more now with this.
I take ancient texts and I correlate them with the Bible, and I apply modern science, modern terminology to it. And if you read them all with an open mind, without any kind of judgment, if you release the human side of it, like you said, white supremacy, I believe it has nothing to do with that. I believe it's just a human experience with it. If you read all these ancient texts, like from the Navajo, the Anasazi, the Aztecs, the Mayas, the ancient Greeks, the Romans, the Sumerians, the ancient Indians. When I say ancient Indians, I mean India, like way out there, not here in America. You come to realize that they all speak on the same thing.
Yeah.
But you have to do it with an open. If you look at these things with a closed mind, you're not gonna be able to envelop
or get the same
the entire aspect of it.
Yeah. You know what's great? You know what's cool about that? I think when you left, we were talking about that. I was telling them how different religions like Buddhists, the Hindus, they all worship this god that has a third eye, and they all have the dot in the middle. Yeah, and that's basically a form of.
Oh, what was that? What was that, Alex? I didn't catch it.
The pineal gland.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so basically that's the third eye. That's basically like a something that ancient astronauts came and everyone's seen that on them, and that's what basically like these deities are freaking ancient astronauts, the aliens, dude. Like it's crazy, like how he was saying, like everything that like from the Bible, ancient scripts, Egyptian scripts, Greek mythology, dude, they all start off the same. And it starts with there's in the biblical it's God breaks down Mary and then Jesus, and it starts breaking down all kinds of different children. Greek mythology is the same thing. It starts with Gaia, and then she gets married to so and so, and then it just keeps breaking down children. It goes the same, dude. It's the same thing in every different religion, but it's the same. Go ahead.
Let me put a quick connection up to you guys. In the ancient Egypt, the pharaohs, they had, if you read into it, the pharaohs, the chosen ones, they come from the gods' bloodline, right? They're all related to the gods. They all had cone-shaped heads. So let's say the ancient Egyptians, they're whatever X amount of miles away from the country that we call America and Mexico now. These guys had cone heads. But in Mexico, the native Mexicans, they would take their kids' heads and they would band them to get their kids a cone-shaped head. How do these two cultures, separated by thousands of miles, come to the same idea, the same perspective? Hey, if you have a cone-shaped head, you're related to the people up above.
Yeah.
So that's why I say you have to do every blanket that society has thrown at you and look at everything with open mind, so you can see the connections. That opening your mind also removes the visions that we have now in culture, and that's why I told you guys is that they seek to keep us divided, and who it is, we don't know. The purpose of keeping us divided, if you look at it with an open mind, it's to keep control. Why? That comes back to the aliens. Were the aliens always here, or did they just show up? In my honest opinion, I believe the aliens have always been here, and they've always sought to keep us in control. We're, like one of you guys said, we're a project. We're an experiment that they can no longer control, but they're seeking to keep under control with every single aspect of society that they can, with whether it be media, music, whatever you see on the TV. There's division in every single aspect of life: race, music, standing in society, whether you're upper, middle, lower class, whether you are, there's all these divisions, and it's just to keep us divided.
Dude, I love the analogy, that blanket analogy, because really that's all we can do in this world is take what everything's been thrown at us and, ooh, you ready? Make a quilt with it. Like, you can just basically you paint a picture and you live by a picture that of life situations, to where you build the interpretation of, like, oh yeah, that's probably what happened. But really, keeping an open mind for more, and I think it goes back to knowledge, is just keeping your mind open to the different perspectives, and really trying to understand what it is.
And I'm gonna pick up a stone and I'm gonna throw it at the Bible buffs, the religious buffs, and this is not disrespectfully, but in the book that everybody reads, the Bible, it says it many times. It talks about the Watchers, the fallen angels, came to Earth, procreated with humans. They taught us, there's a Zazel, there's a Sanyazel, there's the names of angels that were fallen, and they taught us these things. They taught us about makeup, they taught us about warfare, how to manipulate metals, how to count the stars, how to watch their patterns, all these things. Train of thought, going sideways. It also speaks about giants walking amongst us because of the procreation between the fallen angels and the humans. And also in the Bible, it talks about different types of human tribes. And that's how the Bible describes it. The tribe of so-and-so, the tribe of so-and-so. The God of Abraham says that those people are abominations to me. And the Bible describes them when they go to a certain land, and they talk about how the grapes were the size of a man. The grapes, you guys have seen grapes, growing up in the Central Valley. Grapes are small. How can you talk about grapes being the size of a man's head? So it all comes back down to biblical text. Whether you want to believe in aliens being real or not, your book, it says it in plain English because it's been translated. There was giants. That there was food, this abnormally sized food, and there was people that did not resemble the normal standard of what a human is. And so, where do these things stem from? If you want to deny the fact that we are intelligent creation, then you also have to deny your book, because it speaks on the fact that we were not the sole species, but we were the chosen species of the Creator. We were not the only ones.
Yeah. Damn. That's crazy. That's tight. That's crazy.
Do aliens exist?
Maybe there was multiple species of aliens that came to this planet at one time. Maybe there was multiple. And they all tried to, there was a race, like, oh, we're going to get this planet, and therefore you have different tribes, as the Bible describes them, tribes. It doesn't say different countries, it says tribes. And it describes them, if you read the Bible, it describes them as, like, the land of Canaan, the Canaanites, they were huge, they were enormous. And it says in the Bible that we were, us, the chosen people of God, were the size of grasshoppers compared to a regular human. So take that into perspective. How big is a grasshopper compared to a person?
I feel so, like, what's the word I'm like? I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but I, like, for example, like the Bible specifically says, like, marriage is between a man and a woman, and obviously that's not the lifestyle I choose. So I feel like on such a large aspect, like I already am such an outlier in the sense of like all these different perspectives, all these different things, because in reality, like, fuck, maybe I'm the alien. Maybe I really am the alien. Because, and I'm just trying to be jokingly, but honestly, I think it's so great to see how far our society has come, because, like, yes, we still have so much more to go, but literally we're not starting from scratch. We're starting from centuries and centuries of existence.
Yeah.
And like you said, if you start looking at it with non-judgment, and you, like, I really want to read some of these books, because honestly, I feel like it will help enlighten us so much more. And I feel like that is something that we lack in our societies, the inability to choose your own enlightenment. Oftentimes we hear the phrase ignorance is bliss. And I disagree a lot with that, because denial is bliss. Choosing to deny something is going to help so that you can live your life in whichever way you want to. I mean, it's what shut me and folks, a lot of people like me, out of that Bible, because it wasn't willing to see different perspectives and different lifestyles. But I think that once if we choose to coexist, you're not being ignorant anymore. You're choosing to learn and obtain as much knowledge so that you can evolve it into the wisdom that's going to be your life. And I think I love that.
Basically, you're saying is to accept the differences that are the human experience without a blanket.
Yeah.
Without any kind of affection.
Like, I will
Blanket is security.
Be able to will, and I think we're great by allowing that reality, because I think doing that allows us to not just have knowledge, but again, evolve it into a wisdom that's going to be our truth. And we'll be able to coexist so much more together and really learn from each other.
I just thought of something, and you know how we have been living, you know, as humans, and even aliens, I'm sure, because I do feel they are among us. Okay. And it's we've like, scientifically, we've discovered disorders, whether it had to do with mental disorders or something that has to. What I'm trying to say is that maybe some of these disorders that people have that don't necessarily look like us, but they look a little different. They're human. They're categorized as human. They're still human, but they have a disorder, and they've been medically categorized to welcome them into human society. What I'm saying is, medically, people. What if it's what?
I'm sorry. What if all these illnesses, all these mental disorders, all these things are not to understand the human experience, but more so to understand the effects on a different society, the society of the Watchers, the people that whose image we were created in.
And that's what I'm saying is, that's exactly what I'm saying is there are people in this world who can feel other people's energies, and they're known as, you know, having a sixth sense, an instinct. Empaths, yes. So that can be categorized as somebody being crazy, but really that's something that they can really actually do. So what I'm saying is I think there are a lot of things that people can do in this world, whether it's mentally or, you know, even physically, like the human strength, for example. There's people who don't even look like they can, but they can lift, like, I don't know, they can lift cars and in certain dire situations, and for those people,
there's energy.
Yeah, okay. Let's use that as an example. Humans, they're able to tap in to this energy or this force or this strength when we absolutely need to. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody can tap into, you know, saving a child's life when you know, when they're stuck under a car or something. Not everybody can do that. So the fact that we medically have categorized that as what would you categorize that, Alex? I can't think of the name. Somebody who can, so mom who can lift a car up.
A superhuman.
What is it?
Embryonic cells.
Science categorizes it as just an adrenaline rush.
Adrenaline rush, yeah.
Right. So, it's just an adrenaline rush. They're fine. Nah, hell nah. Hey, we gotta start thinking about it in a different perspective.
There's a...
Maybe those...
With what you're saying, I have another question for you guys and this is gonna, well, it's not really a big question, but since we're on the subject of aliens, right, that's the initial, do you guys believe we are an evolutionary creation or we are created by intelligent design?
Ooh.
Evolutionary and intelligent design.
Intelligent design.
I believe in the
No, I
big...
said evolution and intelligent design. I believe we evolved. I don't believe that we are the same species we were even a decade ago. We evolved. We for sure become the different species. I mean, even just within us and our like age group, we're different based on where we were born and our time frame where we were born. But I also do believe in like I said, there's a delicate balance, and that's something so much more greater than us, and it can be that of I don't believe it's a single creator, but I believe it's at the force. It's the force that how can I say it, like I don't know if I believe in God, I don't know if I believe in Buddha, like all these different, but I do know that there is something greater than us that created us for that purpose. Like you said, what were the words that you said?
I said a lot. I don't know.
No. Just right for your original question.
Intelligent design or
intelligent design. That's what I'm looking for. I believe in a higher power that is that of the higher intelligent design, and that's our spirituality. And I think that in terms of like evolution, I do believe we've evolved. I don't believe we're the same species that we used to be, and I think that that's something that's going to continue to change. We're not going to be the same in the next 100 years, and the next 100 years after that, we might not even look the same either.
Yeah.
Because we really don't look the same. We really don't look like we used to look like, 100 years ago. But there's also people who are living now who do look like those people 100 years ago. So are they the people who surpassed like their evolutionary stages and stayed however they were formed, 100 years ago, like their generations?
Or are they it's a cycle all over again? Are they going through that same process that's been processed before in the past times? Are they going through it? Like, are they starting a new strain, or like a new strain of human beings, basically? So,
what you're saying, there's a group of people in Australia, I believe it's Australia, or maybe the New Guinea Islands. When they dive in the water, they can hold their breath for a lot longer than me and you can, and they can stay underwater for a lot longer than me and you, and that's because of what they do regularly. They dive in the water all the time.
They're messengers, right? They're used as messengers, and they're able to run too, for miles and miles and miles.
Their capacities, their cardio is way past what a typical American, Mexican, Russian would be able to attain. But that's just through natural process. There is the evolution side to that.
They're aliens.
I think that as much as we are, I'm a firm believer in that. No one of us is built the same. We might have the same chemicals, the same proteins, things like that, but we can't be brought up the same because of where we are, and that's where astrology comes in, right? We cannot, based on when you're born, it's going to have a lot to do with your outcome in your life. But I also believe that that's what makes each individual so unique. And each individual, one time me and Chris were talking about how, like, we bring gifts. We each have our own gifts, and based on that gift, we can actually bring more gifts together when we unite, right? So it's like, it's specifically the human species. The human species is not just one human that has hair, that has facial hair, and has arms and legs. No, there's so much more built inside of us that creates this outside. So more importantly, like, think of like a dog, right? Not all dogs look the same. There's different forms of dogs that are going to be a canine, some are going to be a chihuahua, but each one of those dogs brings something special to our universe, the universe that we live in. And so that's the same species. We're all, sorry, I don't mean, what?
No, you also have to apply Darwinism, because those dogs, those chihuahua dogs, they won't survive without humans. They are our creation. Those toy dogs, they are our creation. We manipulated it, and this goes back to what I was saying about the ancient Sumerians and the Bhagavad Gita. We manipulated those genes to create that particular species, like Pomeranians, Chihuahuas, what have you, all these small little dogs, pugs. We created that. Those were not the original forms. We forced that evolution.
Would we have also done that with the species? Because that's what I believe. I believe that we did the exact same thing with the human species, whereas some, like you said, like you mentioned, some folks might be able to swim and run longer, whereas other folks will have a higher sense of self. Their awareness, their brain will have developed so much more differently than a species. And even like that's where we looked at like, how like diseases have been passed down from generation to generation, like alcoholism. That it's something that shifts from society to society, from generation to generation, and it's going to look differently if you're growing up in Mexico versus if you're growing up in Russia, and it's simply because of the alcohol that you're going to be drinking. You're not exposed to so much like you are in Russia. You're not exposed to tequila so much, and that it's in itself is going to create a different species, a different human, but we're still going to be the human species, but we're obviously going to have, and I think that's why we have so many different dialects, so many different languages, and it's that in itself, because like you said, we do manipulate the species, but we're also, I think that's what makes us stronger together, because now we know that some folks actually can survive. So like these people are going to be our messengers, but then we're gonna want to rely on our scientists, because their brain processes things so much differently than other type of species, for example. So like Christian mentioned earlier that the Aztecs were really great at math, and so like I think that's super great, because then in some other ancient society, there was another gift that they provided that actually has helped our human species come so much further where we are today.
When you say that, when you say that, I
gotta go grab a charger.
All right. When you say that, the word that comes to my head is adaptation, adapting. It's just like how you brought up the Aztecs again, how they were good at math and they were good at architect. They were able to build things, and it comes to that word adaptation, because they had to adapt to that certain living circumstance where they couldn't just swim all day or float all day on that water, so they found ways to adapt and create a habitat and over that, and that's where math majority of Mexican Hispanics are very good at math and stuff because of their ancestors, the Aztecs, the Mayans, everyone. Like, and another word, when you guys were talking about dogs and how and again, the word that kept coming to mind is adaptation, because you don't see a Chihuahua out in Alaska. You'll see huskies and wolves and just those types of breeds, and then you'll see in the valley short-haired dogs like Chihuahuas. You start seeing like pits and stuff. It's all adaptation. Same thing with us, with humans is like people here in the valley, we tend to have darker tones, like and that's because the melano in our body we start to adapt to the sun's radiation and stuff, and our body tends to find a way to survive and how like you'll see people out in like New York, for example, it's colder out there. Alaska, people out in Alaska, their skin tone is lighter because they don't get hit like we get hit in the sun here, like the sun in the valley. So it like how what I was saying is adaptation is that word that kept coming to mind when you guys were talking about how we created and manipulated different types or created different breeds basically, and like how I was saying that you don't see big redwood trees or you don't see what are those I forgot what those trees are called.
Palms.
How's it called? Say again.
The palm trees.
No. Well, not those trees. I forget what they. It basically the.
Redwoods?
No, not redwoods. Not redwoods. I'm talking about. No, I'm talking about pine. Not like the pine trees. Not those stone pines. They're the basically the ones with the Christmas tree ones. Well, those you don't the way those grow. Well, they're not supposed to be brought into the valley or into our environment because they don't grow as big as they do out in Alaska. And if you see the way they grow so much bigger and whiter and more healthier because it's all adaptation. Everything's adapting to its habitat or the where it's growing from, basically. But
that what you just said. We are the only species on this planet that does not adapt to our environment. We adapt our environment to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have AC. How many other species on this planet have AC?
I don't.
I have water on tap. How many other species have water on tap?
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean though?
What do I mean in regards to what?
Like in terms of adaptation, like in making.
A dog is gonna shed its fur. A chicken will molt its feathers. A badger's gonna burrow if it's too hot. What I do is I change the environment. I don't let the environment. If I want water, I'm gonna redirect that river over there and make it flow into my city. If I want power, I'm gonna build a power plant over here and get electricity into my city. If I want food, I'm gonna grow what I want to eat. I'm not gonna go and forage for it. I adapt the environment to suit my needs. I don't.
Instead of you changing.
The environment provides.
Yeah. Instead of you changing, you change it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't accept nature the way it is. I make nature into what I want it to be.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
So what if? Because yeah, that's true. What if we are the aliens? We are.
Hey, see.
Humans are the alien. We are. Well, you guys it goes into our biology. Scientists have done this study on our DNA, and what they've noticed is that we have the regular double helix, but in that double helix, there's also other strands of DNA that they call block DNA that we don't have access to, that we can't manipulate because there's a blockage, something. And this goes back to the question of asking you: we evolution or we intelligent designing? We don't have access to that third or fourth helix of DNA, but why not?
Hey, do y'all believe in coincidences? Alex, don't answer that. Do y'all believe in coincidences?
I believe in coincidences, and I believe that everything happens for a reason.
Then you don't believe in coincidences?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So how?
Again, I choose to coexist it. I choose to understand that there's things that happen in my life that happen as a result to me. I did these, and it's the coincidence that I made the mistake here. This person made the mistake here, and now there's that coincidence. But I also believe that everything happens for a reason. I know it's contradictory, but that's the point. It has to be contradictory because that's everything that we do.
When you flip a coin, it's either land heads or tails. I've never seen a coin land flat.
Yeah.
Actually.
I will give it to you right now.
Actually, hey, but is it impossible? That's not impossible.
No.
It's possible. So I can see what you're saying.
Yeah. Now, and you guys were saying, so who are the aliens? About the aliens? Who are the aliens, or why don't we change environment? We change the environment. We don't change ourselves.
I think in conclusion, we are the aliens because we don't accept nature the way it is. There are natives. We call them natives, and there must be a reason why scientists associate the word natives to those people, because they accept the environment the way it is. They do not seek to change it. They embrace it, and they live by it. They conform to it. Us, me, you, E.T., Diego. Look at us. We're speaking through essentially what older culture would have called a tablet. Look what you're using. It's made of rare earth materials. It's a tablet. It's a stone tablet, but it's a different type of tablet. It opens up a portal between people to speed up the process of communication. So those people have accepted their way of life. We have not. We said, no, hell no. I want to be able to get a hold of so-and-so who might be 30 miles away, which will be in 2, 3, 4, 5 hours of walking away. Those people will walk. They'll swim. They'll do whatever it takes to get across. Me, all I got to do is pick up this device, and boom, here we are. 4 people communicating. 4, sorry.
And I want to agree with you, but I feel like that's where the evolution comes in. We didn't have these materials back then. We didn't have tablets or computers, or it's something that has to have come along through, again, like bringing heads together, science and all that stuff, to have it evolve in a way that is now is where we are today. Because you're right, like we're not the same as we were then, and we can't. We are still that society, but I do believe that we've evolved.
What if we were?
Go for it, Chris. I'm sorry.
No.
Me and Nano are gonna get into an intellectual debate.
No. What if we were giving a certain amount of knowledge and knowledge for us to figure out, to put the pieces together and create what ancient astronauts created during the ancient times. Like I'm saying, Diego, I'm trying to build this basically this laser beam or whatever, and all I have is the bolts and the nuts. Diego has I don't know. Yeah.
And the computer parts.
Yeah, and and we have to figure out a way to put all that together. We're already giving that knowledge, and how you're saying the evolution, how we evolved to this. It basically, like, what I'm trying to say is we basically didn't evolve. We were just, it was a way for us to come together as peace, save the world without us destroying it. Because like during these times, if I have something a person wants, he's not gonna come and ask for me. He's not gonna come and ask for it. He's gonna come and try to take it somehow. And what I'm trying to get at is instead of that, these aliens aliens us. What we're trying to figure out is, how can we do that? How can I ask Diego for his materials and let him know, like, hey, like, if we put these two things together, it can help create this, rather than it's hard to explain.
What if your method of bringing those two pieces together goes out of control? What if you can no longer prevent it from doing what you wanted to not do? And essentially, that goes back to the Bible. It talks about the city of Babylon, where they're building a tower that's going to reach the heavens. We already reached that barrier. We already reached the heavens. We've already been to space. We've already been to Mars. According to mainstream science, we've already gone past the solar system. We're already at the Kuiper Belt. We're past the Kuiper Belt. What then can you do to prevent your form of communication or mediation from exceeding your limitations? What then can you do? What then can you do if your experiment is essentially reaching the level of where you are as far as intellect?
Can you rephrase your question?
What can you do?
I don't understand your question.
What can you do if the dam you build can no longer hold back the water that you designed it to hold back?
You have to. I think if the dam's gonna collapse.
Exactly.
Collapse, and you have to learn from that experience.
Try to rebuild.
And what do you do?
And then you come together. You come together and you say, okay, this didn't work. This right here, what we did here, this dam that we built to hold the water, it didn't work. Obviously, it collapsed. So now what are we gonna do? And that's not one person answer. I think it takes what we're doing.
That's my example. That's my example of planets. Of planets being the way they are now. It's shit. It didn't work out. Let's see what happens on Earth.
Yeah, that's true.
We are the dam, and knowledge is the water behind the dam. And we kind of don't want to hold back that knowledge. We're curious. That is human nature. We're curious. We want to know more, and we want to know more and more and more. So we delve into things. We've delved into astrology. We've delved into Satanism. We've delved into religion. We've delved into every single thing that we could think of. We've delved into it. Like if you see this cup, for example, there's many million types of different kinds of cups. Liquor, so many different types of liquor, so many different types of forms of smoking, like whatever it is that you smoke. We are curious, and we always attempt to exceed the limit that has been set. So we are that water trying to bust that dam. What then will you do when that water bursts every single dam that you set before it?
You have to learn.
Yeah.
So that's knowledge, essentially.
So if we are the experiment, if we are the alien experiment, what then? If you cannot control it, if you cannot control your experiment in science, what then do you do? It doesn't. It's false. It's fake. If you have a theory and it doesn't go exactly as you plan it, then guess what? It's a failure. But damn, if aliens were so damn smart, why is this even a fucking experiment? Excuse my language.
It's because, like I said,
they should already know. It goes back to the question: Are we the product of evolution? Or are we the product of intelligent design?
I believe that that's such a dichotomous way of thinking, though, because it doesn't have to be either or.
What would you have it?
I don't believe that it has to be either or a product of the divine or a evolutionary. I think that you can actually coexist them and bring in more perspectives, bring in more realities, more truths, right? Like, we don't want knowledge. I don't want knowledge. I want wisdom.
As an individual, you do not want knowledge, but as a group, as a whole, humanity moves forward to attain knowledge. That is the basis of evolution. If you believe in evolution, and also intelligent design, we are designed to learn, to adapt, to progress. If we're not created to progress, to adapt, then we would still be sparking rocks together to create a fire. We would still be eating raw fish. We would still be eating berries. But we don't. I can go to the store and pick up chicken. I can pick up eggs. I can pick up lettuce. Whatever type of vegetable that I want to pick up, I can go to the grocery store and it is there. If it was not how I'm just grow it, you can, but you can't grow it the way that it is grown as a whole, as a community, the way that these farms produce these things that you can't get out of the season. Like, you can get corn in the middle of winter. You can get pumpkins out of season. You can get pumpkins in spring and summer.
Not everywhere, though.
In a controlled environment, maybe. But say you live in Japan and you want pumpkins, but you can't grow pumpkins. Somebody has to place a phone call. That comes into technology. Hey, we need 3,000 pounds of pumpkins. Boom. Here goes a boat full of pumpkins. There you go. Here are your pumpkins.
It's
so
not
it's
rotted.
Rotted by the time they get here. No, because we fill them with chemicals.
Yeah.
To prevent that. So again, That goes back to the whole. That goes back to the whole adapting the environment to your needs, not you adapting to the environment.
Right.
But Nano, I feel like you have a lot to say, sir. So I will pass the mic to you.
Pues ya me lo dijiste todo. No, what I was trying to say was that like we don't have to. We've learned that in our society that it's not just one or the other, right? We already talked about the third truth, right? And it doesn't just have to be a third; it could be a fourth or the fifth. So like I get that some of us might want to punch the thing that we want to see, but you have to understand that not everyone's going to do that. Some of us will grab a glass of water, take that deep breath, and not react from our fear response, but move to our prefrontal cortex, which is where our wisdom, our higher sense of self. What was that?
Our intellect.
Our intellect, exactly. But it takes time to get there. We were born with our stem brain was the first part of our, and that's why our stem brain was the first part of our, it's our reptilia brain. Every animal, every species has that. We are separated from those animals and those species because we have our prefrontal cortex, and our prefrontal cortex is where we have the ability to change from our past, to learn from our mistakes, to say, you know what, I said this, but I actually don't agree with that, or to build a dam, to hold water, and see it collapse, and then rebuild the dam. Or what happened up north in Oroville when the dam was literally collapsing.
About 4 years ago, right?
Yeah, about 4 years ago.
When we got all that rain.
Essentially, they did the spillway. It didn't work, but they learned from that mistake. Now they have upgraded materials. They have new stuff, and at that dam, of course, maybe like in 20 years. Because essentially the reason why that dam was collapsing is because they weren't keeping up with the maintenance.
So
but you learn from the mistakes, right? Now California has invested lots of money to keep up with that dam in the years to come.
Apply what you just said about the dam reconstruction into human evolution and human adaptation to different knowledges. What then can you do if the people you're preventing from reaching the heavens have not reached the heavens? What then can you do? You're the alien. You said you were the alien, so let's hear it.
There's no heaven. The reality is that we don't know what happens when we die. So the reality is that because we don't know, we have to learn how to live our lives. And some people learn to live their lives in adaptive forms, right? Some people go to church every Sunday and choose to not live in sin. Or some people live their life as authentically as possible, live in their truth, and move forward that way.
You are speaking in a spiritual sense. When I refer to applying the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Sumerian scripts, I mean as applying them into a scientific term, into a scientific perspective. You are speaking on a spiritual level. And so what I mean is, if you want to prevent a species from learning a certain thing, what then will you do if the dam is burst multiple times? And if your dam doesn't work at the end of the day, what then will you do?
It's gonna be that. It's like, for example, I don't have the answer to that. Like at this, I would actually want to let Christian talk, because Christian's gonna actually provide insight, or Diego's gonna be able to provide insight to really hone in what we're all trying to come together and say. Because I don't believe in the dichotomy. I don't believe that there's a yes or a no. There's a maybe. We'll figure it out, and if it doesn't work this time, it's gonna work the next time.
What is my last question would be, my initial answers were, my initial answer was, we don't adapt to the environment, we adapt the environment to us. You said there was a third option. What is your third option in regards to that?
In regards to what?
You said it would either be this or it would be that, but you said there would be a third, fourth, or fifth. In regards to,
there could be a third option, but we don't know it right now. So basically, we're not limiting ourselves to just those two options. There's other possibilities, and to stay close-minded and there's probably a third option besides evolution and intelligent design. But right now, it seems like we're trying to debate those two. But there could be a third option. What is it? I don't know.
There could be more than three options.
I have no idea.
Yeah, there could be more than 3.
Yeah, exactly.
We've learned.
Just-
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no.
No, yeah, no.
Chris is just watching like, whoa.
I'm getting both sides of the story, both sides of your guys' opinions. I
And,
mean,
and Nano, I just want to say, bro, I appreciate your mind, bro. You're out there.
I've learned to be out there because I've always had to, but I've had to also respect where our species has come from. Like I've had to, I have no other choice but to live a certain lifestyle and then know that, you know what, I don't do that. I don't live that. And I think that the reality of that is that by being open to like what everyone else has to say, I think like, whoa, that's gonna actually shift it so much more. It's gonna put my mind even more out there. And it's because you're so right. Like it's divine, because that's been the constant, like science, the divine, or is it God, or is it science, or is it evolution, or is it nature versus nurture? And I've chosen to not live a dichotomy. I've chosen to understand that we have more than one species. We have more than multiple, even sexes. Like some people are born, and their sex assigned at birth is male, and their sex assigned at birth can be female. But we've also seen from the very people who've done that, assigned those folks, give gender reconstructed surgery to people who are babies. So I think, why not let the human do what the human does, which is grow and
Human experience.
What was that?
As a human experience.
It's the human experience, but also 10% of our society are born intersex. That's just the reality of the science of it. 10% of our society is born intersex.
Well, when you say intersex, I'm a little lost on it myself. What do you mean by intersex?
Intersex is when your biology, like you get the chart, the chromosome chart.
Mm-hmm.
Have either an extra Y chromosome or an X chromosome, and so you encompass both. Like that person might be a person born with both genitalia, or that person might be born with they might not have they might be born a male, right? Their sex assigned at birth is male because they have the
genitalia.
But then by the time they hit their puberty, they will grow breasts. They'll grow breasts, and that's because there's a hidden what I'm looking for, chromosome. The chromosome, it's a hidden one. Like we said, like even within our DNA strand, that it shifts. And I believe that those people are what I'm trying to say is that these people, if we didn't control their environment, if we didn't say you have to be a man or a woman, then this person would have flourished so much more. But because we dichotomized it, you made it to be where it's this or that, then you don't allow for growth. You allow for the growth that you want to see, which is manipulative, which is what you're saying. So I agree with you. But I believe in being the higher power, being the higher sense of self, where you can actually say, like, no, we don't have to. Maybe so going back to your metaphor about the dam, maybe we are not supposed to build a dam in the first place. Maybe as humans, we are supposed to let the water flow as it needs to. But in some cities, we need dams. And we need to understand that in certain cultures, they thrive off actually having dams.
So
you see,
so what if,
like I do.
Yeah, no, hey, bro, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
But it comes down to, is this what the aliens wanted? For us,
we gotta bring it back.
No. It's either this or that, or the human experience. And I believe what you touched upon.
I think the aliens want us to leave them alone.
No, I think they wanted to watch us. I don't think they wanted us to leave them alone. You're right. They wanted us to leave them alone, but they didn't. They wanted us to live life on this planet. But by their standards, it's either this or that. But as you breach the subject, there's always a third, fourth, or fifth option, and that is the human experience. Because it's the roll of the dice. What are you gonna get? A 7, a 5, a 2, a 1? You will never get a 1, right? But it's a roll of the dice. You never know what you're gonna get. But I give you 2 thumbs up for that. That was a pretty good rebuttal.
All right,
What were you
hey.
gonna say? If we do want
Just like,
No, I was just like, damn. I was I was getting all kinds of knowledge from that.
Yeah, I did start off saying I was an alien.
Yeah.
And hey, bringing it back to that. Bringing it back to that is you know, because we're finding new because medicine is improving and, you know, science is improving, and, you know, people are experiencing things that we probably didn't experience, you know, a long time ago. But a lot of this, because it's so new, you know, it can be viewed as a form of foreign and alien. So I guess to define what alien actually is would probably help us determine what alien actually is, because right now I we don't know, because we don't know, we're all over the place, and I think that's a good example on what's happening here.
Maybe we should get a baseline. David, what is your understanding of the word alien?
Alien, foreign, something you don't understand.
I completely concur with you. As something unknown to you. What about you, Chris?
I'm
People
still.
Sorry, go ahead.
What if we're a form of an alien? We're a breed of an alien, and just branched
What
out.
if we are the aliens?
Yeah, you know, we all have an alien ability. I don't know.
We're all unique.
Yeah, we're all unique.
How about you, Nano?
Unique. Each one of us. I feel like since I was small, I've always identified with being extraterrestrial. I've always known that and I believe that we're all so different, and that's what makes us all the same. And I think that us having even this conversation is that alien to me is a word. Alien to me is a social construct. It was something that with society, people, philosophers, language philosophers created, and that's the baseline of what it is for me, because that's all it is, a word. I don't know. I don't have proof that it's something that's out there. I don't have proof it's something that's worth living within us. All I know is that it's a word, and that it's gonna mean differently to every single person in our society based on their lived experiences. And I don't believe that because this person had this lived experience and this person had maybe the opposite, or vice versa in all the different realms, that everyone's wrong or right. I don't believe in wrong or right. I think that it's that reality. The word alien is going to allow for perspective, simple perspective, because it's going to be on the spectrum of this or that. Because like for me, when I was younger, to me an alien was the little green man with the big head and the big eyes. But then I've learned that that's actually just that's a socialized construct based on like movies and based on media. So with that knowledge, I've evolved my wisdom into understanding that, you know what, I'm not going to be the person to define what this word might mean to everybody else. For me, it's just going to be a word. That's what it is, and I don't believe that I'm wrong.
Yeah, and hey, guess what? That makes you right. So, dude, I think that was a perfect sum of what we talked and what we actually went through today.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So, hey, just to end it, I want to end it with some questions. What are aliens? What do they want from us? Or what is it that they're needing? Do you guys believe in aliens? Or I don't know. You know, just keep asking questions. You know, what are they? Why are they? Why do they come and visit? And where they come from? Stuff like that. You know. And for the people who are watching this, leave your beliefs, because this is a big conspiracy. I mean, no one is right for as we speak right now. No one knows. It's all it is theories. So.
I'm very surprised that we didn't touch the subjects of Area 51.
Yeah, you know, I was in a. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
We didn't have to.
we dove into
didn't have to.
Big brother.
We dove into the philosophical aspects of being alien. We didn't dive into the
Yeah.
actual
I mean, see,
conspiracy.
that's the thing about the podcast, man. You just get stuck. You just get stuck on.
You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And let's be real. What did we learn today?
A lot.
What was the conclusion?
There's a lot of
No
questions
idea.
that must be answered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope we all get these answers in whatever forms they come in.
yeah.
Welcome. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, we're gonna end this out. We may be able to make another episode. I don't know, another episode continuing it, but we're almost at 3 hours. That's crazy.
Oh, shit.
We're at 2
Yeah,
we're at,
yeah.
Whoever watches this,
yeah,
I still-
2
a lot of shit being there.
yeah, we're at 2:45 right now. So yeah, just like we said, we're gonna come back with you guys with another episode. I believe we all wanted to make a new episode in the same setting. We said that in the third episode that we were gonna do cartoons and childhood memories. So hopefully we can probably do that in the same setting and I mean that I think that's the only way it's gonna work out for that episode so we can debate what cartoon's better and off and this and that, whatever. But yeah, is there anything you guys want to say?
Whoever watches this, I hope you appreciate all the intellectual efforts that were put forward by everybody on this video. Because there was a lot of ideas put forth, and there was a lot of contradiction back and forth, but it was all intelligent debate.
Yeah.
Enjoy the show.
Nano, anything to say?
Oh my gosh, I want to watch it and see it all over again. I want to hear like certain words of like what certain words that were said, and I'm like, oh my god, I wrote some of them down. But I think if anything, just finish it off with like, live your truth. I think that's what I want to finish it. Live your truth, and that's it.
Live your truth, seek the truth.
There you go.
Yeah. What about you, Diego?
Yeah, no, hey, just keep asking questions.
Yeah.
If you all know me, you know me as that person who asks a million questions.
Yeah. Hey, there's
Keep asking.
yeah. There's a
Chris,
saying.
before you go off, I just want to ask the audience one question.
Yeah, what's up?
One question. Is it evolutionary, or is it intelligent design,
It's a human experience.
Or is there something else?
or something else?
Or something else. Nah, yeah. So yeah, just ask you guys.
Give your message in the comments below.
Ask yourselves what, who, why, and where. But yeah, let your friends know. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Subscribe so you get our new content. If you guys want us to touch upon a certain topic, just comment it and we'll vote on it. See if we want to do that or not. But we're open to whatever. But yeah, like we said, just stay tuned for our next episodes, and just keep us trending, and see how we have all kinds of new guests coming in. So we're gonna have, hopefully Alex just keeps continuing with our podcast. but yeah, so
I'll be here.
yeah. All right, man. So we out. See ya, Famcast.
Yes. Thank
Later
you for
on.
your time.
Yeah.
Hasta luego.